Less than half an hour to go until kick-off for the 2025 FA Cup final between Crystal Palace and Manchester City here at Wembley. Both sides continuing to go through their warm-up routines at the moment. The Manchester City half, where they are warming up, bathed in sunshine. Crystal Palace have the blessing of warming up in the shadows. John Murray with the team news.
Manchester City have named a very attacking starting lineup. There's no Rodri. It was dropped in yesterday by Pep Guardiola that he may be involved, but he's not ready yet, not involved. So this attacking lineup is Ortega in goal, as he has been for the last two FA Cup finals, but Akanji at right back, then Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly as the back four, then De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva as the two, Savinho, Marmoush, Doku and Haaland. That's quite a front six, isn't it? De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Savinho, Marmoush, Doku and Haaland. As for Crystal Palace, big decisions in central midfield. Wharton is fit and plays. He's recovered from an ankle problem, and he plays there with Kamada, who started in the semi-final here against Aston Villa. So Lerma and Hughes are among the substitutes for Palace, who have Henderson in goal, Richards, Lacroix and Gay, Munoz, Wharton, Kamada and Mitchell, then Sarr, Eza and Mateta. And Joel Ward named on the bench as well for Crystal Palace, Mark. He'll leave after 13 years at Palace at the end of the season, and he gets a place on the substitutes bench. And just an addition with Manchester City, because there is no Kovacic, we're told he is not fully fit. That's why he's not involved. Also not involved, McAtee, Rico Lewis, not on the substitutes bench. Phil Foden's there, and also the 19-year-old Argentine Claudio Echeverri is on the bench for City for the first time.
And just as John mentions, Joel Ward, a woman walks down the Wembley steps just in front of us in a current Crystal Palace home kit that does have two Ward on the back. Sean Dyche and Clinton Morrison, part of our team this afternoon here at Wembley. That's a very, very attacking midfield, Sean, isn't it, when you look at City?
Yeah, it is. Why not? You know, look at the power they've got, look at the players they've got. You know, I mean, Pep's certainly no mug. I'm sure he's looking at it thinking, no, we can get after these. You know, they're a good side, they're in good form, Palace, we know that. But they are a side you can get after, and that looks like he's going that way.
This is, isn't it, Clinton? It does look like we're going to take the game to Palace here.
Yeah, it is, definitely. You can see they've got some really good attacking players. It looks like Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva playing as two centre midfielders. Never thought I'd see that, but yeah, they're going to go for it, because they know if they weren't going to go to it, Palace can cause them a lot of problems, as Sean alluded to it. So yeah, it's a really attacking lineup. I'm a bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, with that attacking lineup, because they've got a lot of quality, but I still think Palace can exploit some of their weakness they got in defence.
I suppose what they would expect to happen, Sean, just tactically, is that Nico O'Reilly would come in as an auxiliary midfielder from his left back position, yeah?
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, he's done well, hasn't he? I mean, his 10th appearance, that's not bad, is it? Yeah. FA Cup final, his 10th appearance, I mean, 20 years old. No, he's done very well, the games that I've seen. I think they probably look at that, you know, you look at the six you're talking about, then you do need that solid base. Probably stay at home, I would imagine, not go flying forward as much. You know, we've seen in the past, I don't know, but we've seen in the past, full-backs of Man City going super high, super stretched. Maybe it might be slightly different with that six in front.
You do sense, don't you, and we touched on it earlier, that it's going to be a game of cat and mouse out wide here. Where City's full-backs go, what Crystal Palace's wing-backs do, what City's wingers do in relation to Palace's wing-backs.
Yeah, I mean, generally in the times I've seen Pep's teams have played against him, is if he sees that wing-back sort of situation, they go high and wide and drag them back as far as they can. He'd be very brave if Palace decided to say, there we must leave them, you know, you stay a bit higher in front of us and we'll stretch and cover. I doubt that'll happen. It could do, but I doubt it. I think the early part of the game, you know, I think all these tactical conundrums on a piece of paper look different. The early part of the game is going to be very important. I know that's an old cliche, sounds an old cliche, but I do mean it today. I think in all games it is, but in this game today, I think, how can Palace quickly set their stall out, get a grip of the game? And equally, how can Man City, you'd imagine, they're going to be a bit more front foot with their playing, keeping the ball. Transition's huge in football now, and for me, the biggest change in Man City this year, the thing that they haven't done as well, is defensive transition. Lots of mistakes, lots of turnovers, or more turnovers, lots of situations they're probably given up lightly, which they wouldn't normally give up, and that gives the opposition belief, of course, to go and press and get after them.
If you were in the technical area then, if you were in that Palace technical area, and when would you have a fair idea of what City's plan was? Like minute, would you know by 10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, well, firstly, if I'm that technical, I need some white emulsion paint.
Yes.
Yeah, I need that putting over me to make sure I don't just melt. But after that, once I've gone over that hurdle and realised that I'm not going to keel over, and then I look at Man City and I'm going, goodness me, so that's not so good for me. But no, I think early in the game, like all managers and staffs, nowadays you've got eyes in the sky, don't forget, so you've got your analysts in the sky, they're on it, they're going down to the bench saying, look, we've noticed this, we've noticed that. Some of the detail in the shape and the tactical shape, there's a lot of information available now. It's not just the manager's eyes. You've got eyes in the sky, as we call it. You've got your staff are all looking. You've got lots of feedback now. So I think managers generally get a handle on things. Doesn't mean always get it right, but I mean they've got a handle on it, and then trying to get that message onto the pitch if there is little twists and little changes. Usually nowadays in yardages, and whether they're going high and wide, like I said, or whether they're playing more like inverted and things like that. So it's not always huge tactical changes, but it can mean a lot in a game like this.
Sean Dyche is with us. Clinton Morrison just taking a lot of deep breaths in between Ian and John at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm listening to Sean. It's very good, and you've got a manager here who's experienced like him. You're still learning. Even when I'm retired, I'm listening to him, and everything he said there is spot on. But yeah, I'm nervous about the game, and it is hot in here as well. It's making me even more nervous.
Let's hear from the Crystal Palace manager, shall we? He's been talking pitch side, Oliver Glasner with Kelly Summers.
There is so much excitement, anticipation from the fans and the media and everyone. Do you feel from your players that you get the sense they're ready to step up and handle the occasion as well?
Yes, I have confidence in them, because they did so well over weeks and months now, and they know how we want to play, and this is the most important thing, not now do something special or something different, because we were winning 3-0 at Fulham in the quarterfinal, we were winning 3-0 against Villa, so why changing a lot? It's just making one or two adjustments due to the City side. They're playing very attacking lineup today, and everything else is have confidence and trust in what we're doing, have confidence and trust in the team, and this is what we want to show today.
You mentioned City's lineup there. Last time you played them, you said post-match that you spoke to Pep and said he wouldn't be able to play that system again. Do you feel like you've now found the solutions to play against them?
They can change their way of play or their system throughout the game, and they played, I think, 2 times. They played with 2 wide wingers and Mamouche and Erling Haaland against Brighton and Tottenham, and then of course we're well prepared. So because last time he played without the winger against us, but this is the way. What he wants is always the same. I think it's what Pep said, even when they had not the best times in November and December, said, okay, this is more, the only thing I can tell them, this is because I'm believing in, and this is what brought him, 30 titles or whatever. So the way is the same, just they're very attacking players, of course, great 1v1 players with Haaland, Mamouche, 2 great strikers in the middle. But on the other side, when you have so many attacking players, this also could give you opportunities in transition, and this is what we think is one of our biggest strengths. And when we are here efficient and take many right decisions, then we will create chances and we will score goals.
And whilst you were listening to that, Glad All Over has been ringing out here at Wembley, and the Palace fans are virtually, Clinton, all in their seats, aren't they? They've all got the blue and red flags that have been left on their seats, and they are going for it early. Yeah,
they are going for it early. They're enjoying it. There's not many times they come to Wembley, so they are going to enjoy it. Wait when it kicks off, chappers, and right in the middle behind the goal, the ultras, they will be going off in their white t-shirts, and that just behind there, it will go off. But yeah, it's a great atmosphere, and we will outsing Man City. Definitely. There's a pocket of white t-shirted fans right behind the goal. You can see some of the banners getting ready to be unfurled in a little while before the teams come out. And in fact, they've played this here at Wembley whilst the players are still warming up. So if you're a Palace player, I know you hear this every week, Sean, or every other week when they're at Selhurst, but now they're able to look at Wembley. They saw it in the semi-finals, and here we go, less than 20 minutes away.
Yeah, I think there's a smell in the air. I do. I think building up to this game, I think people are kind of going down that road of, I think Palace can pull this off. I think, like Man City is still a fine side. I made that clear in the build-up, and so you can't write them off, of course. But I don't know, the build-up feels that way, and you can sense it in the fans today. And don't get me wrong, rightly so, Man City fans have been used to coming here. Palace haven't been, and they had a chance to make history as well, to be part of that history. They are in good voice. the Man City fans, they're probably going, no, we've done this one before, so slightly different for them.
Yeah, they are, and there's not many of them in their seats just yet. Partly, I would have thought, because that end is bathed in sunshine, so a few of them might want to stay in the shade before they come out. But now their blue and white flags are up, and they're giving it as much to Blue Moon. Yes, Clinton?
Chappers, let me tell you something. I did the semi-final here with John, and there's more Man City fans. I thought Palace would outdo them today, but that is much more, a better atmosphere than the semi-final here. So yeah, it's going to be a good battle, but I still think Palace will be South London and proud.
Do you like the fact, Clinton, as Shaw says, that there is a feeling that Palace could do this?
Yeah, I like that feeling. I've been walking around speaking to a lot of people, and people are thinking it's a 50-50 game. I think if it's Man City of last season and previous seasons, you give Palace no chance. But I think, as Sean alluded to, when City have possession, when they lose it, the transition out of possession, teams can break on them. And if you look at Palace's front three, they're very good at that. So that's why I give Palace a good opportunity. What Palace don't want is, like when I was watching the Forest game here, where the Forest fans were brilliant, and you can see it after 2 minutes and it just goes flat.
Yeah, that's a definite for me. You know, that, like I said, the early part of the game's really important, I think, for Palace to get a foothold in the game. It's hard to explain, but let the occasion come into you. You know, use it wisely. Don't sort of look nervous. This sounds really easy, of course, because they're going to be nervous. You know, they haven't got the same depth of experience, some of these Man City players, the Palace players, I mean. But you know, you don't want to do anything silly early. You don't want to make a mistake. You certainly don't want to be going down. So I think I'd be surprised if the early part of the game isn't quite cagey from both, but particularly from Palace, and sensibly so, I would say, if they do that.
I'll tell you, I'd be interested to know, Mark, is how similarly Palace tried to play this compared to how they played the semi-final against Aston Villa, when, if you remember, Clinton, they allowed them a lot of the ball in the early stages, and in almost every department the Glasner plan looked to work. Now, if he does that again, can it work again? Can it work against this team?
It can work against this team, but the thing is with Man City find ways, and in the heat like this, you can't afford to not have possession all the time. You've got to have a bit of possession, and it's going to be difficult. I still expect Man City to dominate, and I expect Palace to play like they did against Aston Villa and play on the counter-attack and be ruthless. But the thing is with Man City, as we saw against Forest, they give up chances. Forest had a great chance. If you think at 1-0, Alanga come on just after half-time. He had the great opportunity where he missed from 4 or 5 yards. I think you give them opportunities to Palace, they have to punish them. But I don't think it's a game where Palace are going to dominate possession, John. I think they will play like they did against Aston Villa.
But I suppose that's your point, Sean, isn't it? That they let, even in the semi-final, they let the occasion come to them. They took their time.
Yeah,
and then blitz Villa, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they can do that, you know, it is a big ask, because, like I say, the only thing I'd say in balance is it is Man City. You know, people seem to have made out. Seem to have made out this season particularly that they're not what they were. Now, of course, they've had some blips. We know that they haven't been as fluid. They haven't been firing on all cylinders. But they're 10 unbeaten. You know, they're coming to the business end of the season, and guess what? They're still around it. They've got an FA Cup final, and they've got every chance of getting in the Champions League. And you suddenly go, well, for them, this is, you know, it could turn a very iffy. So this is not my opinion. The world's opinion, but an iffy season. So loads of people are making out into actually, you know, imagine that you get Champions League and you win this. So actually, you suddenly go, what if that's a bad season? Haaland wasn't firing, but he's got 30. You know, then you suddenly go to where's that demand? Where's the reality?
And that's exactly the point, isn't it? I mean, if people have listened to us all afternoon. We virtually started with Clinton and John at sort of midday. You know, at the end of it, there are only 3 domestic. If you're in a top flight club, there are only 3 domestic trophies you can win. No, I mean, admittedly, more in. There are some leagues where teams tend to win titles all the time, but in the main, nobody can win titles 5, 6, 7, 8 years on the spin. It's just it just
very
doesn't
difficult.
happen.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And even the great Man City sides, in particular, I mean, they have been for a long time, but certainly 4 or 5 years ago, when that's Silver and people like that, the terrific sides. They've still got to rotate and transit. Sorry, not rotate. They've got to transition their players in and out. You know, maybe it's just coming to the end of that natural curve of a lot of them players, and the obvious one today being De Bruyne and people like that, where they're going, right, we need to now transition again. It's not easy, you know, even at this level. You know, they've got money, of course they have. They spent a lot this season, well, particularly in the January window, which is unusual. It's a difficult window. But at the end of the day, you still got to get them players in, make them all work, make them all, fluid, make them all glued together. Pep's got to use his way of working to make them understand it until it just transitions into the next team that can win the league. And it's not that easy, quite obviously, because you've got 19 other teams out there who are saying, by the way, you can do what you want, but we're going to try and win it as well. Well, not all 19, but you get the point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, John, even the great Liverpool teams of the 80s or Manchester United in the 90s didn't win the league title every single year. So, remember the year Manchester United didn't, Blackburn won the title, Everton beat them in the FA Cup final. It happens.
All the great teams, this happens to them, doesn't it? And I think we've probably been lulled into thinking it wouldn't happen to Manchester City, but it's actually quite reassuring, isn't it, that world order has been proved to be true.
Yeah, because everyone talks about the competitive nature of the Premier League, and that's why it's arguably the best league in the world, because it is competitive, and it's shown it again. The giants or have become giants in Man City, and how powerful they've been on the pitch, and suddenly they're not quite as powerful. Someone else is stepping forward. Other teams are stepping forward. Some of the not so fancy teams stepping forward as well.
We are in time now for the first of the FA Cup traditions, and that is Abide With Me. Abide With Me, performed there by Sinead Okai and accompanied by the mass bands of His Majesty's Royal Marines. Let's head back to Northampton Sarries. James Burridge.
And Sarries have their fourth try, Mark. Rotimi Shagan with the bonus point. Northampton looks as they can't wait for this game to finish. They have so many walking wounded going off and getting substituted, but we're only 8 minutes into this second half. As it stands, Saracens will go into the top four with one round of the regular Premiership to go. 48 minutes gone, the Northampton 7, Saracens 24.
We've heard from Oliver Glasner. Let's hear from his counterpart. Here's Pep Guardiola.
Pep, a third consecutive FA Cup final. We know how proud you are of your records in this competition, but does it ever get old bringing your side here today?
Well, I've been more than 20 times here, in semi-finals, finals, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. So, yeah, it's the first time. Always is the emotion when you are. But I prefer, honestly, we prefer to be here than be at home.
You said recently this has been the most difficult season of your career. So what would lifting the FA Cup mean to you, particularly, and to City today?
Listen, it's been a tough season for one reason, because our standard was so, but unbelievably high. So, but you reflect, we won the Community Shield, we are in the final FA Cup, we are fighting to play for the Champions League. Like with the contenders that we have, it's normal that the season we play don't be differently. And we see what happens. We have 3 finals ahead of us. I know how difficult it will be. And hopefully we can show our best and lift the second title of the season and fight and qualify for next year the Champions League.
De Bruyne, Marmoush and Haaland all start together for the first time today. What will that bring to City in attack?
Well, we try to create as a team is a really good in transition, really good. The set pieces in the center, they defend them really well, and for that the only way to break up, I would say, is talent. It's people with talent, and that's why today we decided in that way.
You've had some good battles against Crystal Palace, particularly under Oliver Glasner. What is it that you really like and admire about them?
Well, not without Oliver. In the past, with one of the legends of this, this country, we struggle all the time because it's a good team. So you see the players, you see sometimes you play the top 6, top 7. We play the teams like maybe in the top 10 or the second part of the table. But you see the quality individually, the players, and you see every team. And the manager said, they are so good. So that's why they are here. They knock out Aston Villa. They look Aston Villa the top form like right now. The incredible manager with an eye with the players. So I always had success in this decade with us because we had a lot, immense respect for the opponents and treat them like they deserve.
Pep Guardiola with Kelly Summers. We're waiting for the teams to come out here. It is spectacular here at Wembley at the moment. We have flags and banners at both ends. The one in the front of Crystal Palace says Wembley will shake and it will be beautiful. The one away to our left where the Manchester City fans are, maybe you're the same as me, we won the lot with KDB. There's a huge picture as well of Kevin De Bruyne over to the left with all the trophies that he has won at City around him. I tell you what, Clinton, sometimes we try and do pre-match stuff in this country and get it horribly wrong. I have thought in recent years at the FA Cup final, they get this brilliantly right. The flags, the Tifosi banners and flags, the military band in the middle, there's fireworks, there's flares. They've gone off in the Crystal Palace end, the red and blue ones. We won't be able to see anything in a minute. They get it right, and they do. Let's give them credit, they get it right.
No, they do get it right. Hold on a minute, I'm just going to get my phone out and take a picture.
Yeah.
No, not really. They do get it right though, chappers. Your spot on is fantastic. The Kevin De Bruyne tribute at the other end, he's been fantastic, but yeah, they do get it right. Over to you, Deno.
The tribute to Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland contributed €5,000 to that Tifo display.
It gives you goosebumps, Sean.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay, just in case anyone at home is wondering whether they need to send any money and everything, it's going to be okay.
What an occasion, though, Sean. It must give players and managers goosebumps.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, look, I know football's expensive, and we all know that, the debates and everything. But what a spectacular sort of build-up to a game that is. Do you not think slick, organised, absolutely on point, I would suggest?
Absolutely. The emotion and the romance of Abide With Me that can reduce many to tears in the build-up to this, and the teams have now come out, been led out behind the officials by their respective managers. I know John is a big fan of whatever Oliver Glasner wears, but no big fisherman's jumper today, thank goodness, in this weather.
Well, he did question whether he would wear a suit for the final.
He said,
John, his lucky jumper.
He said he's going to come out in the suit and then change to that jumper, but it's not a day for a jumper out there.
It's not.
I don't care how lucky it is, you're not wearing a jumper there.
So he at the moment has just got a black t-shirt on, and black trousers and white trainers as the presentation party meet his Crystal Palace team. They've gone down the red carpet and to the right first, led by patron of the FA, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. We've got the chair of the Football Association there, representatives of the sponsors as well, and Prince of Wales has just stopped actually to talk to Oliver Glasner, and then he's shaking hands with the official Stuart Atwell, our referee for this afternoon, and then he makes his way towards Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's got a dark blazer on, dark t-shirt and some brown trousers as well. Kevin De Bruyne, the Manchester City captain, doesn't actually walk along with the presentation party to introduce the players to them. They're making their way down on their own, and in fact the Prince of Wales has already reached the final member of the starting 11 for Manchester City, which is Erling Haaland, and very shortly we will be ready to go with the national anthem. Again, half this famous stadium bathed in sunshine. That's where the Manchester City fans are at the moment. The other end where the Crystal Palace fans are, in shadow. The Marine Band are ready, the mass band of His Majesty's Royal Marines, and we are also ready for the national anthem. Siena NBC is on the podium, and we are ready now for the national anthem.
Performed by Siena Locos and the mass band of His Majesty's Royal Marines.
We are ready to go then with the men's FA Cup final here at Wembley. It is Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who walk towards Crystal Palace to shake their hands. Guardiola nearly at the end of the Crystal Palace lineup. Eberici Eze, the final player. And Guardiola actually waits a little bit longer and just taps Eze on the shoulder before making his way to his technical area. Manchester City don't want a trophyless season. Crystal Palace have always had a trophyless season. Yes, Sean?
Just looking at it, just a strange thing to think of, but for the managers, I'd be considering this, right? You change hands in the toss. Look at the pitch.
Yeah.
Look at the shadow halfway across the pitch. It's unlikely that Palace dominate the ball. So I'd be thinking, right, if we defend that half, we keep ourselves calm, we're under a bit of pressure, let's say, and we can counter into the sun. Second half, the sun's likely to come down. So, them little margins, you never know. Them things certainly be crossing my mind.
So, if you were City, you'd turn, would you?
If I was Palace, I'm on about, sorry. I'd defend in the shadow.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because they're likely to have more of the ball, keeps you slightly fresher, you counter into the sun. Sun's in their faces, second half it might drop again, so you get two halves of shade, because the way Man City normally play, you're unlikely to be in their end of the pitch for a lot of the half.
They have just done the toss, Kevin De Bruyne and Mark Gay, and I'm just waiting to see what the signal is, and it looks as though they're going to stay in the same halves, which is Palace defending the shade in a final where they are trying to win their first major trophy, apart from the full Members' Cup that we talked about earlier with John Murray. Let's join our commentary team then for the FA Cup final of 2025. Sean Dyche, Clinton Morrison, John Murray, and first of all, Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. The 144th FA Cup final in its 153rd year. And interest extends beyond South London and the northwest of England, because should City win, that will ensure 8th place in the Premier League, offers European football a potential bonus for teams such as Brentford, Brighton or Bournemouth. What a sight, and even now inside our commentary box you can still smell the sulphur from the pyrotechnics, the red and royal blue smoke that was let off in the Crystal Palace end as those red and royal blue flags continue to fly. And as a result of that, there is a haze inside Wembley Stadium. These are the two teams. I'm mindful of what happened 2 years ago. Ortega is in goal for Manchester City. A back four of Akanji, Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly. De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Savinho, Mamouche, Haaland and Jeremy Doku. Sky blue shirts and white shorts. Crystal Palace form a huddle in their red and royal blue striped shirts and royal blue shorts, and it's the same side that beat Aston Villa in the FA Cup semi-final. Henderson is in goal, back three of Richards, Guéhi and Lacroix. Munoz and Mitchell are the wing-backs, Kamara and Wharton in the midfield, Sarr, Eze and Mateta. We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service wherever you are in the world. It is always a pleasure to have your company on this, still a special occasion in English football. FA Cup final day. It is a glorious day. The sun is shining. As already Sean Dyche has highlighted, Crystal Palace will be defending the half as they play from right to left that is completely in the shadows and attacking a Manchester City side with the majority of that half to the left still in sunshine. And in fact, Ortega, all in bright orange, he's actually shielding the sun from his eyes. He isn't wearing a cap. I'm pretty sure, as we're underway, that Dean Henderson would, as he gets the ball and it goes long, straight away downfield. And it's Gvardiol who heads it away and headed back once more, and Gvardiol has gone down. The referee, I think, might have to stop play because that's a head injury to the Croatian international right on the edge of the area, Clinton.
Well, let me tell you something. Haaland's not happy because Kamada gave the ball away and it would have been a 3-on-2 situation. So Palace are really lucky that he has gone down, but Haaland weren't happy, but he has to stop it. It was a head injury. I think it's collision from Mateta. It was a bit late on him, but yeah, Palace can't afford to leave themselves open like that. And that's the only thing I worried then, though, with Kamada in there. He was brilliant against Aston Villa, but sometimes he's disciplined and he's passing. He hasn't got the recovery pace.
That must have been a manager's worst nightmare, Sean, because I saw Guardiola's reaction when Guardiola went down. He put his hands on his head, but luckily he's back on his feet.
Yeah, you certainly don't want an injury, that's for sure. And you've set your team planning for a big game like this. You don't want an injury early on, that's for sure.
Sean Dyche and Clinton Morrison are with us here as the red and royal blue balloons are being bobbed around, dropping right in front of our eye line. Two, in fact, tied together. As Mitchell, who used to play less than a mile away from here at AFC Wembley, is now playing in an FA Cup final as a free kick. Our referee, Stuart Atwell, goes against Crystal Palace, and Gahey, one of the many England internationals in this Crystal Palace side, gives away a free kick. Clinton.
Yeah, he does. He's a bit late there, Mark Gahey, and it's going to be difficult for Palace to get out sometimes. The ball up from Mitchell, it has to go into Mateta's chest or give him something to feed off, and then you've got to get the runners from Ismail Sarr and Eze. What's strange is they've been playing Nunes at right back. He's put Akanji in because he knows Eze's the problem, so he's put more of a defensive player because Nunes is a better midfielder.
Well, here is O'Reilly playing at left back. I wonder, with the inclusion of O'Reilly, he's 6'4", the youngster, but bearing in mind that Manchester City have been susceptible to set pieces this season. In fact, Crystal Palace in both the games have scored from corner kicks. He will offer a little bit of defensive protection as well, won't he, with his aerial presence.
Pieces, so it's another good chance to have someone, a big player to deal with their threat from set pieces.
Here is Diaz. Every outfield player is in the Crystal Palace half away towards our right, as Diaz plays the ball out towards Savinho on this near side the right, level with the penalty area, back towards Akanji. Good atmosphere inside Wembley Stadium, as you'd expect on FA Cup final day. Diaz rolls it back out towards De Bruyne, passes the ball infield to Akanji, back with Diaz about 6 yards forward of the centre circle. Doku is out wide on that far side the left. Guardiola's come into a central area. O'Reilly has just been ushered to come back towards Guardiola. Did play at left back against Southampton last week. That actually ended a run of 7 successive games as a central defender in the recent City lineup. But Crystal Palace just sitting off Manchester City, almost as if they're content for them to have the ball in that area of the field.
No, it's the same against Aston Villa. I didn't think they would change, and John will tell you, because he obviously did the game when he comes in, but this is how they set up against Aston Villa. They just stayed in their block, and when they had it, they tried to break, and I didn't think they would change, because you're not going to come on try and open it up against a good team like City.
Savinho on this near side the right. Mitchell puts in a challenge, gets the ball. Kamada now has it for Crystal Palace, and then passes the ball out of play, and it'll be a Manchester City throw that De Bruyne wants to take quickly. He scoops up the new ball off one of those white little tiny cones down there, as still balloons are being knocked around in the Crystal Palace end, who are creating the noise. 0-0 in the early stages here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Should say as well, you can actually watch the pitches on BBC One, but there is the option through the red button and also the BBC Sport website to watch and listen to the 5 Live commentary. As Doku, far side the left, Munoz closes him down. Guardiola now has it, central area, along the ground, reaches Akanji. Savinho wants it, Akanji goes on ahead of him, Savinho waits and shows too much towards Gay, and he just comes across, deals with it and gets the ball away, but it's off the chest by Bernardo Silva, and Manchester City quickly have the ball.
Seeing they regain possession, trying to play out, and you don't land it, so therefore Man City are back at you again. It needs to be position, not possession, for Palace. They've got to fly it right the way over, stretch the pitch, turn them round the wrong way. So if they keep just chipping it up there, as you can see already, Man City will just keep dominating the ball.
Well, now they've got an interception. It was Eze who just got there before Akanji. Don't think that was a foul by Akanji. I think it was a genuine attempt, and the referee will give the free kick, but will take no action against Akanji. Eze was just too sharp for him.
Yeah, he was too sharp. It was a loose ball from Kevin De Bruyne, and Eze just said he could get there and nick it. I don't think it's a yellow card.
Thomas Tuchel, the current England manager, is here, as is the former England manager Gareth Southgate, watching on inside Wembley as those ultras behind that goal, that pocket of white in amongst the red and blue of Crystal Palace support, are making the noise. It's almost as if the Holmesdale Road end has been transported to the west side of Wembley Stadium. Nothing really materialises from that Crystal Palace free kick, and Manchester City with Diaz have it in the sunshine away towards our left.
you know what, if Palace are going to do that and play out from the back and Lacroix's just going to kick it out of play, Dean Henderson might as well get them up the pitch and hit Mateta.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're going to set that up, you can go and smother the play around Mateta, keep the ball, give yourself a breather. Just, like I said, play for position, not for possession. You get higher at the pitch, it gives you a chance for second balls, a higher position on the pitch. At the minute, Man City, well, basically dominating with the ball, but then as soon as Palace get it back, Man City win it straight back. Great ball.
De Bruyne
What
with
a
the
ball.
cross, and it was a good save by Henderson.
What a ball.
De Bruyne has played the ball in. It was an arcing ball from the right-hand side. Looked like it was actually going away from Haaland. Far post, and then Haaland has just knocked it back, and Henderson had to make the save.
And that's what he's going to miss next season, not having Kevin De Bruyne. He's the one player on the pitch that can put it. It's a great ball. He just pulls off Richards at the back post. He doesn't get the best of contact. It's a good save from Dean Henderson. Richards has to check his shoulder, because that's where Haaland comes alive as soon as De Bruyne is on the ball.
He was reaching for it. He got his left leg, but it didn't necessarily have the power, but it was on target, and Henderson had to be alert. Corner kick far side then. 0-0, 6.5 minutes played. De Bruyne waits on that Manchester City left. In it comes now, it's an in-swinger, attacked by Lacroix. Edge of the area, it's played out towards Savinho, tries to hit it first time, blocked by the body of Mitchell, races after it, but Savinho will go back towards Bernardo Silva, who's on the halfway line, and then just flicks it. A nonchalant little flick there by Bernardo Silva towards Diaz, who then strokes it out towards Gvardiol on that far side. Gvardiol. Now O'Reilly's ball in, it's a deep one. That was awkward actually for Henderson. He's actually carried it, misjudged it I think, he's carried it behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, he could have probably have let that go, but yeah, he had too much on him and he was backpedaling, and he managed to carry it over the byline for the City corner.
Man City have decided ever so well. No two ways about it. They're mixing their play. They're not just, I know Man City can play. Of course we know they're better possession, but they've already put it in the box. They're changing the way they play. They're hitting it longer. They're mixing their play and asking questions already at Palace.
They've got a corner kick on this near side, the right. 7.5 minutes played. Savinho waits, left-footed, it's an in-swinger. He climbed high to head it away, back out to where it came from on this right-hand side. Savinho in now towards Marmoush, fires it early, blocked, came back quite quickly towards Savinho. There's the caught in possession, De Bruyne, early ball in. I have to say, I saw them at Southampton last week, and by and large they played in front of Southampton for long periods. I don't think they actually had a shot on target till about the 41st minute. But here there is an intensity about Manchester City. Yeah,
you're right. They've started on the front foot. Palace have to be better. Eze's on the ball there. He has to get his head up and try and get a few passes in, because if not, it's going to be a long afternoon. You have to have a spell of possession, and I know it's difficult against Man City, but try and get up the pitch a bit more.
Ball is hit by Gvardiol towards Doku. Richards, though, will curb that run on that far side. Now here's Kamada. Kamada looks for the ball out from midfield, and Mateta has made that run.
The moments are so important. So important. Mateta, a player I think has developed hugely at that moment there. Get hold of the ball for your team. That makes a massive difference to the flow of the game.
Because at the moment it just keeps coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And they're struggling to break what Man City do. We know Man City can start like this. The main thing for me, Palace, is not getting overwhelmed by that. Staying to what they are at the moment. Come out your shape, Pistons, come out, drop back in, come out, drop back in. And shape is so important in this early part of the game to make sure they stay strong and solid and don't get kind of that, don't get mesmerised by Man City's football. Try and stay to your game plan.
Sean Dyche and Clinton Morrison with us here at Wembley, still goalless as we're in the 10th minute of this FA Cup final. Diaz edges his way forward and then out towards Savinho. Just pops up a little bit off his first touch off that left foot. Oliver Glasner is desperate for Crystal Palace not to sit too deep. He's trying to wave his players forward a little bit. Now they push up, they're probably midway through the Palace half. City, though, still in possession. Gvardiol to Diaz, touches the ball, takes him out of the centre circle. Wharton approaches him. He goes out to his right, short ball to Akanji. Now towards Savinho. Mitchell looks to close him down. Back with Akanji. Akanji's ball towards Haaland. Haaland, though, stopped by Wharton. Forward ball by Wharton to Sarr. Sarr will run forward, sliding back was De Bruyne. Says he got the ball. Referee Stuart Atwell agrees with him. Sarr has stayed down. Oliver Glasner not happy. O'Reilly comes forward. Bernardo Silva out towards Doku. Doku now runs forward. Left corner of the penalty area. And O'Reilly will keep that ball in play over on that far side. Manchester City still have it. Doku gets away from one challenge. Kamada running, goes to ground with one challenge, back out towards O'Reilly, but they're passing the ball very, very quickly, Manchester City.
They're cooking at the moment, Man City. They're under pressure, Palace, but I think they expected this.
Now, it's not just that, but it's not just that. Have you noticed on transition how quickly Man City reacted? Because they'll have done their build-up. They'll have said Palace are really good when the transitions come in the attacking sense. Look how quickly they're reacting. So Man City is smothering them as soon as the ball turns over, getting after the ball, 5-yard fury as I call it. If you're the closest player, go and get the ball back as quick as you can.
Well, Manchester City have got a corner kick on this right-hand side. And Savinho approaches the ball for a second time, goes back, hands aloft, in front of the Crystal Palace supporters. Savinho, left-footed corner kick. Haaland is the target. Gvardiol gets there first, and his header is pushed away by both hands by Henderson. And then the ball is cleared long. And Henderson now, already in these opening 11 minutes, has been forced into on 2 occasions now.
You're right, Dan. And the problem is Palace, they defend zonal. But then Guardiola's one of the best headers of the balls. He gets a free header. It's a save you expect Henderson to save. But yeah, they are dangerous at the moment.
Possession doesn't guarantee wins, but relentless possession gives you a whole better chance. And so far, this is relentless for Man City. You know, they were really up in there, but one really good chance. I think that's a save. We'll save that one. But at the minute, they are being relentless, Man City. And this is like we used to remember Man City currently.
Yes.
This is how we used to remember them.
Well, they're coming forward once again. They've failed to score 4 times in their last 14 games. They failed to score 4 times throughout the whole of last season when they played 59 matches. But they're again on the front foot, and again they're attacking. And Savinho up against Mitchell. And the last touch will be a goal kick, because it came off Savinho, and there is a little bit of brief respite for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, now don't put it short, because as I said, I don't think Lacroix and Richards are as comfortable probably as Mark Gay on the ball. You might as well get up the pitch, try and get up the pitch and play in Man City's hit Mateta.
Especially the way this game's gone at this early stage, I'm amazed by that. I totally agree. You know, get it up there, go and smother the play, go and give them something to think about.
Well, they do go short, and then the ball from Lacroix.
Yeah, they can't get anyone round the ball, you see. Goes up there, and Palace can't get anyone round the ball for the second phase.
This is Savinho, right corner of the area. Here's cross over the head of Haaland. Richards and Munoz both go for the same ball. It'll be collected by Doku on that far side, the left. Still 0-0 in the FA Cup final. Here is Bernardo Silva, left corner of the area with the cross. And that was a dangerous ball in. And Crystal Palace eventually knock it behind. It goes for a corner kick. That was wicked.
Yeah, that was good. It's a great ball in from Bernardo Silva, and I think it's Mitchell who does brilliant defending at that back post. It's a great ball in from Bernardo, but they can't get out. They cannot. I don't know why they keep doing it short. It's frustrating me at the moment.
I know it's still early, but you've got to be. This must be like Palace have like 10% possession or something, you know.
It feels ominous at this stage for Crystal Palace. Corner kick on the near side, and the header from a tumbling Akanji is off target, just pushes the roof of the net and drops out of play for a goal kick. Now, will they learn and heed the lessons from last time? Will they take the goal kick short, or will this time they go long? And
I think they'll go short again. I just think that's how the manager set them up. But surely you think to yourself as the manager, sometimes you've got to get up. Can't keep playing in your own half. I know it's the new way of playing out, but no chance. Just get up and make it there.
Man City as well. Man City got 4.
Yeah, they're pressing them on. Look, because they
really
know.
brave with their pressing positions. Look, they're in front of the midfield and almost going, go on then, if you're going to play, we're after you.
And again, Crystal Palace concede possession as a result of that short goal kick. Bernardo Silva, left corner of the left side of the centre circle, runs forward. Got a bit of room to run into. Then he stops, waits. Bernardo Silva then passes the ball inside towards Gvardiol, along the ground. Eze towards Akanji, out towards Savinho on this near side, the right. Back with Akanji, lets it run through towards Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, Kamada will go towards him. De Bruyne though releases the ball. Diaz is able to carry it forward a few yards. Now with O'Reilly on that far side. Been playing for a quarter of an hour. Henderson has made 2 saves already for Crystal Palace, but it remains 0-0. Doku far side the left. O'Reilly goes on ahead of him, not utilised. Back inside towards Gvardiol. They are camped inside the Palace half, and Palace are having to defend deep. Savinho looks for the run of Marmoush, one bounce and out for a goal kick, 0-0.
You know what I wanted to ask Sean? Your team started like this. How do you get up the pitch?
Well, I agree with what you're saying. For me, you go, right, get up, It's it to the big man. I know it sounds really simple, and people are probably listening and he always says that.
But it's effective.
On this occasion, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because you're looking at it, look at their pressing positions, Man City. Look how brave, look how strong they're being. So they're obviously setting that up for a reason. So this is where your game management comes in. This is where the manager, the coaches, all your players go, get up the pitch, go and smother around Mateta, first balls and second balls, go and change the feel of the game.
There were 4 sky blue shirts ready to press from the off of that goal kick. They do get it forward towards Mateta, and all of a sudden now Crystal Palace can make a rare foray into the Manchester City half. Munoz to Eze!
And that's why we love football.
The counter-attack!
That is why we
What
love
a
football.
devastating counter-attack! And Crystal Palace, with their first serious attack, score! Cross from Munoz, and Eberechi Eze, a man in a rich vein of form, with a right-footed finish, and Crystal Palace score the opening goal against Manchester City, 1-0.
Hey, I've not been a manager, but it's common sense. We got one of the best managers there. What did we say? If you miss it out and you go up to Mateta, who can hold the ball like one of the best, it's a brilliant goal. It's a fantastic. Munoz has been outstanding. Plays it back to Mateta. Mateta's ball's into the box, and Eze, it's a great finish from Eze. Big players turn up on big occasions.
Saying 12% possession, the man. That's why we love football, right? Because it's a different way. There's different ways of winning a football match, and that's. I'm not saying they won, by the way, but that's fantastic, typical Palace thing. What we've been talking about before the game. I just think, why have they waited so long to do it?
Yeah. Got a bit excited. Sorry.
That's 6 goals now in his last 5 appearances. He is in the form of his life, and he took it so well, didn't he?
Fantastic, what a ball in, and the technical side of that finish, he's under pressure, keeps focused on the ball, doesn't look at the goal. Sometimes it's tempting to throw your head at the goal. He's literally kept his eyes on the ball, strikes it clean, strikes it hard and low. You've always got a chance when you strike it on target, hard and low.
It's their 3rd FA Cup final appearance, and for the 3rd time they've scored the opening goal. You remember in 1990, Gary O'Reilly popped up in the 19th minute against Manchester United. The lead lasted for 14 minutes. In 2016, when Jason Punchin scored a late goal, it only lasted for 3 minutes before Juan Mata equalised. They'll hope that it lasts a lot longer, as the Crystal Palace supporters are celebrating away towards our right-hand side. And for Manchester City, for all their possession, Crystal Palace are the ones to break and get the goal. And in fact, I mentioned it earlier in the build-up, Oliver Glasner, in now 4 games against Manchester City, Palace have always scored first.
Yeah, they have.
Ball through towards Marmoush. Keeps the ball in play as he makes that run into the inside left channel of the penalty area. To Doku, far side. Guardiol, ball in field. This is O'Reilly. O'Reilly still has it. Marmoush, turn and shot, blocked by Richards.
You know what I say, Deno, for the goal? It's brilliant hold-up play from Mateta. That's what you want your centre-forward to, as Sean said earlier. If he holds the ball up, and Munoz is one of the best that I've seen in the Premier League, the way he gets forward. And as I said, it's a brilliant finish from Eze. He's still got a lot to do to control that.
Well, these two sides have served up a number of goals in their meetings. 21 goals in their last 4 meetings. We thought we could have the potential for a classic. Manchester City, they don't do goalless draws when it comes to the FA Cup. Now none of their last 45 FA Cup ties have finished goalless since they were held by Huddersfield Town as a championship side in 2017, and Palace are leading 1-0. Wharton passes the ball to Mitchell. Mitchell comes forward. Eze the goal scorer. There's Mitchell, Kamada, Mateta and Sarr all ahead of him. Ball's cut out by Guardiol, out towards Eze, floats it, Munoz, right side, Munoz in, and the shot from Sarr, hit it first time right-footed, was saved by Ortega.
What a chance, it's brilliant again from Palace.
You mentioned in the build-up about Man City making more mistakes, and that's a mistake. That comes from mistakes, a really poor pass-stroke clearance from Man City, and they pounce upon it, which is what Palace are good at.
They're looking for a free kick here. De Bruyne had passed the ball forward towards Savinho. Looked like a 50-50 challenge, a bit of a shoulder barge, nothing untoward I don't think, and referee Stuart Atwell says there was no foul by Mitchell.
Nah, he's done well, Mitchell, against Savinho at the moment. He's good, he's really good, but that's another good chance there down the right hand side, and you know where it comes from? Munoz again. I think he's been outstanding down there. Good chance for Ishmael's side, so good save from Ortega.
It was, he had to react quickly. It was, 8 yards out? Let's get an update in the rugby. James Burridge.
8 minutes to go here. It started to get very interesting. Northampton have scored 2 tries, the last a penalty try. Saracens look comfortable. Now it's a 3-point game. Northampton 21, Saracens 24.
Manchester City 0, Crystal Palace 1 is the latest score in this FA Cup final, live on BBC Radio 5 Live, the BBC Sounds app, and we're also broadcasting across the world on the World Service. As Manchester City playing from left to right with Akanji, stumbles the ball into the path of Savinho, who runs all the way back and actually goes back inside the Manchester City half of the field, and now Diaz takes over inside the centre circle. And Diaz will go out towards Akanji. Marmoush had actually made a run, but it wasn't spotted. Savinho goes back, and it's almost as if now, since the goal, City have just slowed it down a fraction with their passing.
Yeah, they have, and Palace have got a good shape, so City going to have to keep moving it 1 and 2 touches. As we said earlier, me and Sean, the way they started was relentless. It's kind of a sucker blow, isn't it, Sean?
I said many times, goals change games. Not just the scoreline, they change the feel of the game. Now, this has changed the feel of the game because it's a great goal. Man City will know that. They just get a little bit tensive. They were absolutely flying, and that's just defused them a little bit. You know what I mean? So let's see how the game changes now.
Here is Diaz out towards Doku. Doku midway through the Crystal Palace half. They've doubled up on him. Sarr helping out with Munoz on that far side. Guardiola now will come forward. De Bruyne almost side on to goal, lays it off. Now it's with Diaz. He's seeing a lot of the ball, Ruben Diaz, as he passes the ball out towards Savinho. Now with Akanji. Crystal Palace inside their penalty area, waiting for this ball to come in. It's intercepted by the goal scorer, Eza. And then Eza being hounded, taken off his toes by Marmoush. By the way, I owe you an apology, Clinton. 22 minutes in, and I forgot to say happy birthday to you for your birthday in midweek.
Oh, don't worry, it's just another day. It's not a special birthday, but thank you anyway, Deno.
Don't worry, in 4 years' time it'll be a special birthday.
Oh, well, what will I be, 40?
50. We're midway through the first half. Crystal Palace lead by 1-0. Let's take it through to half-time. Here's our correspondent, John Murray.
And Crystal Palace are on the move again with Sarr. Munoz again. Across comes the ball towards the back post with Eza arriving. The goal scorer. But Akanji was able to see it wide. But Eza's back in possession on the left wing. This is in the sunshine. Barely any of this match has been played in the sunshine. However, Crystal Palace scored in it. And they're enjoying their moment in the sun as City have the ball on the edge of their own penalty area now with De Bruyne, who plays it forward. What a first 20 minutes that's been. As a long one over the top now for Haaland to chase. Henderson comes out of his penalty area. Oh, he had to nip back in there into the box and flap it away with one hand. Haaland has picked up the ball, gives it to Marmoush. Marmoush edge of the area. Palace are back in there in blue and red numbers now and are able to get it away. And that he had to think quickly there, Dean Henderson.
Yeah, he did. I don't...
Here's one for Palace to chase with Sarr up against Guardiola, who puts him under pressure, and the ball is played out and given as Crystal Palace throw, and he's waiting for
that is a City throw.
A nod from the assistant.
Yeah, it was a City. Guardiola played it off Ismail Sarr. There, I'm thinking there, Henderson doesn't need to get involved. Mark Gay, he's dealing with it. I know he wants to come, and if he's going to come, use your feet. He tried to use his hand, but they were caught there with one pass, Palace there.
What a moment, Clinton, when Crystal Palace took the lead.
Yeah, it was a great moment. I did celebrate, John. I'm not going to sit here and lie to everyone. I did celebrate. There's a few fist pumps. Felt like a manager on the touchline, but it was a brilliant goal because me and Sean were saying they were under pressure and we thought how they're going to get out. And sometimes the game is simple and we can complicate it by trying to play out from the back.
Classic counter-attacking goal. Super. Munoz, who's been so good this season, tearing down the right. And who do you want on the end of that? Eza, who's now scored in 5 matches in a row. First time he's done that in his career. Still got a stoppage here, by the way.
Yeah, the big challenge for him at the moment is sticking to Palace's game plan, but always being on your toes, because you've got to remember that you're looking at a Man City side. They very rarely panic. They'll stick to their game plan, so you've got to make sure you stick to yours.
We've got a checking of a possible red card.
Yeah, because I think
for Dean Henderson.
Yeah,
when he's outside.
He's outside the box when he handles
outside the box?
I thought it was close.
I thought it was tight.
I thought he was back in.
No,
so we've got
close.
all 3 possibilities there.
Yeah, it was close. I thought he was outside.
I was surprised it didn't get looked at immediately.
And And this is the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. If this is ruled to be outside of the area, that is a red card.
But he's playing on. He's playing on. The referee's playing on.
He's carrying on.
Wow.
There you go. Yeah, that's a massively important moment.
Oh, massively important. I'm not sure though. I did think he was outside.
Listen, Clinton, you and I have commentated on enough matches together.
Yeah.
I tend to trust you've got a very good sight. What do you think, Sean?
He sees it again. He looks outside, don't he, Daichi? I thought he was outside. Even with my Palace head on, John, I thought he was outside.
Well, that is an enormous moment in this FA Cup final. We'll be talking about that on 6:06 if it stays 1-0, but it might well not. City with the ball on the edge of the area, but Mitchell's able to dive in and clear it away. The score, Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0. After great early domination from City, and now Doku runs into Richards, played the ball past him and ran into the Crystal Palace defender, goes to ground. Referee Stuart Atwell is having absolutely none of that. So the ball is back with Dean Henderson, but Dean Henderson's heart must have been in his mouth when he saw that appear on the big screen.
I think every Palace fan was like that, John, because I didn't know where he was coming. I thought Mark Gay was going to deal with it. So, and if not, go with your feet, because you take a risk when you come to the edge of the box. No, he started well, John. Tyreek Mitchell's been brilliant so far. Done well at Savino, a few last-ditch tackles. He's done ever so well so far.
Yes, the boy who was born in Brent, which is where we are in northwest London. Sarr fires the ball over the top. This is for Mitchell to chase. Akanji in the right back position. He's able to head it down, but Mitchell is all over him. This is right out of the semi-final playbook here. Mitchell, who does not give Akanji an inch, and the ball eventually off the City man for a throw into Palace.
Yeah, he started well. He's been their best player for me, and you want to see Mitchell do more of that. This season I've seen a lot of him where he's tentative to go forward, but he has got ability. He needs to believe in himself a lot more.
So this is the 2025 Emirates FA Cup final, live from Wembley Stadium on the BBC, on 5 Live and the World Service, and if you're on the move on BBC Sounds. And we're watching Crystal Palace, who've got a long throw. Richards is about to take it. They are potent from set pieces. Long throw in, which is headed up in the air and then headed further away by Riley, headed to the edge of the box. Wharton tries a shot, that's blocked inside the area. Richards heads it forward, but Savino is going to play a first-time pass, but Richards on the halfway line is able to adjust and put it out of play on the halfway line, and Pep Guardiola in his sandy-coloured, tight-fitting trousers, black t-shirt top, is able to pick up the ball and throw it for a City player to take the throw.
Is that a bit of your dress sense, Pep?
Oh yeah, very similar. Yeah, of course. I often do that on the sidelines. You wait till I come back.
I know, mate.
You haven't seen nothing yet.
So there's something to look forward to in 25-26 as City have it with Akanji and then Diaz and then across to Gvardiol. He's already had a chance, scored in the semi-final, Gvardiol, but so memorably did Eberici Eza, and now he's scored in the final as well, the England international. Akanji back in possession. Here's Kevin De Bruyne, the Manchester City captain, approaching the final weeks as a Manchester City player, back into the centre circle.
I think Kamada and Ward are really important, in this style of game, the way it's going at the minute, because they're doing that unselfish teamwork. They're not always getting the ball, they can't play as much as they like, but they are covering the yards, getting across and staying together as a unit.
Here's Savino down the right-hand side, but he's overrun it. Mitchell stuck with him there as well, made sure that he overran it over the dead ball line for a goal kick. And Clinton, with your Crystal Palace connections, what Sean's saying there about the decision in centre midfield. I mean, Wharton, if he's fit, is clearly going to play.
He's a given.
But
Kamada,
Hughes, Lerma, Kamada.
It's because how good he was, John, when the Aston Villa game. Because he wasn't a regular Kamada, and I think in that Aston Villa game he was outstanding, and now he's made that position his own. And fair play to him. Yeah, as I say, Wharton's a gimme. I think he's a special young talent.
Yeah, but has been a doubt this week because of the ankle problem. Missed the match against Spurs. Goal kick.
I still can't work out. They're 3v3 more or less, Man City there. 3v3, and you've got Materazzi who's good at that. Fire it up there.
Exactly.
Fire it up there.
I don't know. They're still doing it where they're trying to play out.
By that.
Yeah.
However, just like in the semi-final against Aston Villa, when Villa dominated in the early stages, Palace broke away and scored that brilliant goal through Eza. Is history repeating itself, Clinton?
It's way too early, John. Can you ask me in the 89th minute, please?
Well, Eza He scored his first goal for England at that end in March. He scored that super goal in the semi-final at that end last month. Now he scored the first goal in the final at that end in May. He'll be wanting to buy it. Here's Gvardiol. His left-footed cross into the penalty area, but Mark Gay is there. Mark Gay, who didn't play when Manchester City won 5-2 last month in the Premier League against Crystal Palace. He was suspended. Doku now up against Munoz. Doku, persistence, still going, the ball in the box. Richards puts his foot in, and the ball very kindly for Palace bounces back to Dean Henderson.
Yeah, that was a sticky situation. That was the first time Doku enabled him to be one-on-one, and they have to be careful. Ismail Sarr's doing a good job of doubling up.
Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0. Just switched on. There's no Rodri, by the way, for Manchester City, so Pep Guardiola going with a very attacking formation, and it did look like, it felt like it was only going to be a matter of time in those opening 15 minutes or so, but then bang, 16th minute, Palace first attack, counter-attack, and what an effective counter-attack it was, resulting in Eza's first time finish from 12 yards, something like that, as Akanji was coming across. Here is Eza. The ball bounces centre field, but he was beaten to it by Savinho.
He has to do better there, John. That's where Eze, I think he's a top player, but sometimes he reacts and he's too slow. He has to be quicker there, and his manager was going mad on the touchline there.
Yeah, Eza. It's going to take a mammoth performance for Crystal Palace, because this Manchester City team on this 10-match unbeaten run, even though they drew 0-0 at Southampton last weekend, this is their longest unbeaten run since those early weeks of the season, before the extraordinary rot set in. Here's Doku on the left-hand side, scored in the cup final last season against Manchester United. That was a consolation. Here's Diaz, Ruben Diaz chips it in, Haaland tries to head it across, but it bounces down, and Kamada is there, the Japanese international, to sweep away the volley up towards Mateta, who can't hold it up this time. De Bruyne's put under pressure by Wharton, and Mateta and referee Atwell says he was fouled by Wharton.
Yeah, he was. He just came in the back of him, Adam Wharton, and as Sean said there, Kamada and Wharton are doing a brilliant job. It's hard, probably have to make changes in the second half and think of Hughes and Lerma, but they're doing a brilliant job.
Well, this cup final has flown by, and now Bernardo Silva into the penalty area. Oh, Mitchell in with a challenge. Bernardo Silva goes down.
Wow.
Referee waits.
Yeah.
Penalty.
Yeah.
Penalty. He took his time. He thought about it, Stuart Atwell. It looked like a penalty, and Stuart Atwell points to the spot.
I could see it was a penalty. He doesn't need to make that challenge, isn't he?
It's super clever now, these players, right? So
Yeah.
I think Silva there, he's realised I'm not going to quite get it, and you just get a touch. Super clever play,
Yeah,
that.
it was.
Super
It
clever
was.
play.
And then Mitchell
just
buys
get a
it.
touch and you get
Yeah,
brought
he
down.
buys it. Yeah, he buys it. It is a penalty. I saw it straight away. I don't know why Atwell, he's in a better position than what we are, and we could see it from up here. But yeah, it's just praising him for how well he's defended. He doesn't need to dive in there.
So a penalty. Penalty for Manchester City. So this is a massive moment. Tarek Mitchell, who had made such a good start to the match, but clever little Bernardo Silva. Clever play. Feet too quick. Heading for the byline. They're just checking it. They're still having a look at this. But I have to say, I'm super confident that this will be backed as a penalty for Manchester City.
I'm super confident. I didn't even know why Atwell decided. He's caught him, Mitchell. He has caught him. I don't think he gets nothing to the ball.
Or does he?
I think all it is his legs buckle a bit quick before there's major contact, but they get given every week.
Yeah, of course they do.
Are they thinking?
Very surprised. Look, his legs buckle here, look. But he still made contact.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
I'd be
penalty.
amazed. Yeah, I'd be amazed. I'd be amazed if it's not given. Because they get given every week.
They do get given every week.
Still waiting. I mean, it's the kind of thinking there. Did he pull out of the challenge? But I mean, that has to be a penalty. I think it has been confirmed. So the question is, where's Haaland gone?
He had the ball in his hand and he just gave it to Marmouche.
Well, that's an interesting one. So Haaland has missed 3 penalties this season, or he's failed to score from 3 penalties. So Marmouche, who is yet to score a penalty for Manchester City, and actually has not scored in his last 5 appearances. It is the Egyptian, the January signing, who is given the responsibility here. He's standing right behind the ball on the edge of the penalty area. Dean Henderson bounces around. He's standing behind the line at the moment. So this a chance for Manchester City to equalise from the penalty spot in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Marmouche, I must say, he is looking very, very cool. He is not being flustered by the weight at all. He's standing stock still. There's the whistle. Little steps to begin with, and then on his right foot, Henderson saves! It bounces out! Haaland the cross, and Henderson's got it safely for Crystal Palace. Marmouche was waiting in the middle, but Henderson makes the save, then makes the catch from the Haaland cross, and still Palace lead 1-0.
Until I see that they've confirmed that he was on his line, I'm not getting too excited, John, because this VAR, they interrupt a lot of things, but it's a brilliant save from Henderson. Fantastic save. And you know what? Someone in here said they wasn't sure that he would save it. It's a fantastic save.
No, I didn't fancy the score.
That's it. Sorry, yeah.
No, I looked at him, as a body language player, I thought, I was looking at him going, I don't fancy him. And I said to Clinton off air, I said, I don't fancy him.
Yeah, he did. And that's why Daichi's a top manager, because he knows these situations.
Average at best.
Nah, top.
So there you are. Dean Henderson evokes the spirit of Dave Besant and Mark Crossley and Petr Cech, who've all saved penalties in FA Cup finals. But City come again. Crystal Palace, because of that Henderson save, have preserved their 1-0 lead. Henderson, who might have been sent off. VAR had a long look. Henderson stayed on the field. Now he's saved the penalty. Palace on the attack, but Sarr can't keep that in, and it's a throw-in to Manchester City.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those where I thought maybe he was outside the box before, but you know what? He's been outstanding this season, Dean Henderson, and big players are turn up on big days. It's a fantastic save. It's not like it's a poor penalty. It's in the corner, but he just reads him, Henderson.
And Sean Dyche, you said when Palace broke away and scored, that's typical football. Well, that's typical football as well, isn't it? Henderson, quite possibly a stroke of fortune, then plays a key role there. So City with Akanji halfway inside the Crystal Palace half, but Mitchell steps in. He'll be a relief man as well, Clinton Mitchell, having conceded the penalty.
You're right, John, because as I said, he had started well, but as Sean said, he kind of bought that Bernardo Silva because it was a heavy touch, and then he went down and Mitchell made the tackle and he forced him into it. It was clever centre forward play. 5
Live from the BBC, the World Service with us as well, wherever you're listening around the world. It can't be more any pleasant than it is here in northwest London, where we've got warm sunshine on Wembley Stadium. The arch will be lit up out of our sight. Here's Doku into the penalty area. Doku's still going, lots of red and blue for Palace there, and in the end too many bodies. Doku can't turn it into anything. And Wharton, excellent play from Wharton. I thought he'd lost possession there, but he found a brilliant touch to take it away from Bernardo Silva. And then Richards, with all of that hair, passes it long downfield. This for Mateta to chase, and that was just about a last gasp challenge by Guardiola to pass it back to Ortega. Yeah, you're thinking Mateta is quick, but he's not that quick. If it's Ismail Sarr, I think he gets away, but good defending from Guardiola. So City again, this time Akanji with a pass. Haaland, who's never scored at Wembley, with a ball on the right-hand side and didn't take the penalty. What about that? We've not really touched on that. Bernardo Silva then playing it behind Haaland, and then Haaland has to get his head down and Mitchell clears it away. So you've got a man, Clinton, who scored 30 goals this season. 4 of them have been penalties, but he doesn't take the spot kick. He definitely weren't listening to us at the start when you said about him not scoring at Wembley. Surely you want to you're the top goal scorer in the main man. I don't care how many you've missed. Been given a gilt-edged chance to score his first goal at Wembley. His first goal in a final for Manchester City. And he's the main man. Take the penalty. Exactly, John, and he's the main man. I'm not sure. I don't know. Sean, do you make him take it? I'm surprised. Yeah. There might be a reason in-house, don't get it. He's only just got fit again. They might have agreed, look, fair's fair, shout out to people who've been playing week in, week out. I don't know, but I am surprised, yeah. The idea of him not scoring at Wembley, 50-odd minutes left yet, lads. Yeah. We're getting too excited. I know. Well, he's already had 5 lots of 90 minutes and more. But if I was Crystal Palace, Clinton, I wouldn't be tempting fate?
No, I wouldn't be tempting fate. We're tempting fate, but I don't think them Palace players or fans will be tempting fate.
Look at that scene, Clinton, to our right.
It's brilliant.
You know, as a man who played for Crystal Palace Football Club, they brought the Holmesdale Road here, haven't they, to Wembley Stadium?
They have, and them ultras, they're fantastic. I'm not just saying it because I play for the club, but you'd go there, when you go to Sellers Park, them fans are always brilliant in the Holmesdale Road then.
And let me remind you, this is Crystal Palace, who have never won the league. They've never won the League Cup. They've never won the FA Cup. This, the third time in this great showpiece occasion. Eza on the halfway line claims that he was fouled. Referee Atwell doesn't think so. The officials have given us plenty of talking points already in this FA Cup final. But as Ian Dennis mentioned, Palace were in front in both previous FA Cup finals, weren't able to win them, both of them against Manchester United. And also Oliver Glasner, as the ball is played out towards the right-hand side, as Savino plays it in left-footed. Haaland's inside the penalty area, gets his head to it, that's nodded away by Wharton, and then Sarr is able just to volley it forward for Mateta to chase against Diaz, and Mateta, using his strength, has got the better of Diaz, but then the recovering Gvardiol got a touch, and then it doesn't break forward for Palace, who are able to clear it away downfield, and the referee's blown his whistle. One of the City players has gone down. Gvardiol, I think, got a knock in all of that. So let's go down pitch side to Maz Faruqi.
Yeah, the roar from the ultras, the Palace fans, John, just hasn't eased at all, making it sound like we're right inside Selhurst Park at the moment. The drums only eased when that VAR check and then that penalty was taken by Man City in front of us here, but then when Dean Henderson saved it, it started up again. Absolute bedlam down here at the moment.
Well, it certainly sounds like it. Gvardiol's okay. City with a free kick. 3.5 minutes to go at half-time. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0. Eberici Eza, the goal scorer. Scored in the quarter-final, scored in the semi-final, and now he's scored the only goal so far in the final. Here is Ruben Diaz, 15 yards inside Crystal Palace territory. O'Reilly, in those orangey boots. Young O'Reilly's played in the Community Shield here at Wembley at the start of the season. It's been his breakthrough season, and in the cup final team at left back. Here's the right back, Akanji, now to the right hand side. Savino back to Akanji again, and then Akanji goes back towards the centre circle, and Diaz. And Manchester City, as the first half, this eventful first half, draws to a close. Manchester City trying to crank up the pressure. Doku goes past Munoz, Doku with a shot, saved by Henderson, defender got his head to it, Savino across, then Kevin De Bruyne blasted it over the bar from 10 yards out.
Of all people, you can't believe it. Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, it's the first time I said Sarr's got a double up, because once Doku gets into that position, it's a brilliant save from Henderson. I must say, Haaland looks like he's got the run on Guehi. It's a fantastic defensive header from Guehi. But once it falls to Kevin De Bruyne, you're thinking probably, last time playing at Wembley for City, he controls that and he blazes over the bar. It's a great opportunity.
Another save for Henderson as well, though, Clinton.
Yeah, it's a big save. It was going in that top corner. It's a comfortable height. It's one you expect him to save, but it's brilliant.
Defending.
Yeah, brilliant defending from Mark Guehi.
And De Bruyne, it was a busy 6-yard box, just trying to hit it into the roof of the net, blasted it over the bar.
And he's got probably the best technique on the pitch, and someone you think would find the back of the net. It's a good opportunity.
Crystal Palace 1-0 up. Oliver Glasner would absolutely take this, wouldn't he, at half-time? But City trying to change this. Marmouche, who had his penalty saved, is tackled, no free kick. Forward from Lacroix. Mateta's chasing this. He has to be offside. He is offside. And it's a free kick to Manchester City, 10 yards inside their own half. Yes, Oliver Glasner down there, directing operate. Oh, what's happened there? Mateta and Akanji, and Mateta has ended up rolling down. He threw himself to the ground, was rolling over and over after Akanji trying to get the ball back off Mateta, and
he was all right, and he wasn't.
This is a bit of nonsense, isn't it?
He's better than that.
Come on,
Mateta. There's nothing wrong with you. You're better than that, big man. Come on.
Sean, if the big man had done that to you in your playing days when you're in central defence,
I'd have said, would it be okay if you stopped doing that? please.
Come on, you.
You never had Clinton doing that to you, did you?
Clinton never had a kick, mate, when I used to play against him. I don't know, we did 3-0 boxing.
I don't know what you're starting.
Tony, what I was showing, Tony, give him the ball, he had a kick yet. You know, it was 70 minutes.
Clinton, that's not what you told me earlier.
I didn't know he was going to be in there, did I?
All about yesterday's.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all that's been sorted out, and Mateta is back on his feet, and Akanji is in possession. Still 1-0, half-time approaching. In fact, 15 seconds to go, so we'll have the fourth official with the ball. Here's Akanji with the cross, but that's blocked by Mitchell. And then Eza chips it away. Might have been caught late by De Bruyne, and referee has given the free kick. And now Mateta has gone down again.
Yeah,
after minimal contact from Diaz.
Yeah, I don't know why, but Diaz did try to leave one on him. But good luck, because you know what? Even though he's going down a lot, Mateta, he will put it about. So watch this. You have to be careful with this, but he doesn't need to keep going.
You know what it does? It does break the play.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
It breaks the momentum, breaks the flow of the game.
That's what he's doing, yeah.
So it's a free kick. Referee could have let play go on there, but he gave the free kick Manchester City's way. Palace were on the breakaway, and Oliver Glasner pacing around nervously. As Ian mentioned, 3 times his Palace side have played Guardiola's City. They've all been eventful matches. Palace have been ahead in all of them, but have won none of them. Not that I want to be the voice of doom for you, Clinton.
Yeah, I know you are, but it's okay.
Lacroix heading it forward. Sarr, he's beaten in the air, then headed forward by Kamada. Manchester City have got it down. So 3 minutes of added time, and we've already had a minute of those. Crystal Palace supporters, as it's brought forward by O'Reilly on the left-hand side, but he checks back, Sean.
No, credit to Palace, you know, they started under massive pressure from Man City. They score a great goal, and now they've just changed the feel of the game a bit. You know, they've made it a bit more rough and tumble, a bit more to their liking. Not so, you know, so that Man City haven't got everything.
As Richard just sees this ball behind Sean Dyche and Clinton Morrison here with us in the sweltering 5 Live commentary box.
Yeah, it's hot. Today's where you want to be outside there, because I am sweating, even with excitement and worry as well, and it is hot, John.
You're not wrong, I thought it was just me. I'm absolutely
I'm sweating.
No, I've got a V down my back. Sweat V.
So we're tucked away at the bottom of the lower level. So we're slightly in the Crystal Palace half, and they are, all of them, in the lower tier, clapping their hands in unison. The Royal Box is up above us. That's where Prince William is. I was thinking before the match he would have needed no introduction to the Crystal Palace players who knocked Villa out of the FA Cup. As the ball was played forward by Gvardiol. This is for Marmouche. Haaland tries to get there, but the recovering Kamada got the first contact, and then Munoz cleared it away towards the halfway line. And then Mitchell sends his pass forward, but Diaz is able to, with his left foot, steer it back to the man in orange, Ortega, who has started now 3 cup finals in a row. So Ederson is on the bench for Manchester City. There's nothing Ortega could do about the goal that was scored by Eza. A sure finish of a man in confidence it was, Clinton.
Yeah, he took his game to over the last couple of months. He had a slow start to the season. He's now starting to believe in himself, adding much more goals to his game. He had a lot of assists, much more goals.
Yeah, 13 now in all competitions. That's his personal best for Crystal Palace. Here is Savinho, and then Akanji crossing. O'Reilly tried to get there, didn't make any contact, and it was blocked away and cleared away before it could reach Haaland. And there we are, half-time at Wembley Stadium, and what a breathless first half of the FA Cup final that has been. Early domination from Manchester City and saves from Henderson. And then the breakaway goal, Crystal Palace's first attack with Mateta and Munoz, and then that excellent finish from Eza in the 16th minute. Controversy as well. Dean Henderson with a VAR check to see that if he denied a goal-scoring opportunity, i.e. had he handballed it just outside the penalty area, he would have been sent off. The VAR ruled that it was on the line, so he stayed on the pitch and then saved a Marmouche penalty, and then made another crucial save from Doku.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, Henderson. We did think maybe he could have been sent off, but as I say, VAR, they have the better angles than what we have, but it did look like he was outside the box. And then, yeah, he's been brilliant. They've all had to be brilliant. Man City started on the front foot. Palace get the goal for a well-worked goal. Brilliant down the right-hand side. A good finish from Eze, but Henderson's had to make big saves. But, John, when you play against Man City, you're going to have a lot of defenders to do, and Palace have done it ever so well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. Sean Dyche, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's kind of how we thought, well, certainly how I thought. I thought Palace would need to try and get a foothold in the game, which it did. I wasn't thinking they were going to score so cleanly, because it's a great goal, great counter-attacking goal, even though we've seen them do that, particularly the second half of the season. But they've set the stall out in their defensive shape. They're working very diligently. They come out and they press, they drop back into their shape immediately. Two midfielders working without the ball, but working very hard. And, they are a threat. The things about Man City, you have to take your chances. When they come, there's not going to be that many. You have to use it wisely. I think that's the only grey area for me with Palace. They could use it more wisely. They could get it to Mateta quick, get bodies around him, go and change the flow of traffic, change the feel of the game. Hypercritical, I know, but you've got to remember there's another half. You've got to go and do that for another half. And if you keep knocking it and if you keep giving Man City a repetitive chance to attack you, they will find goals.
Lovely, thanks Sean. Have a rub down with the Radio Times at half-time. And it is Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0 at the break.
Fascinating FA Cup final, second half on the way here on 5 Live. Let's switch to the Gallagher Premiership. Some game this afternoon as Northampton beat Saracens by 28 points to 24. But there's a lot more to it than that, James Burridge.
Absolutely extraordinary comeback, Mark, from Northampton. They were 24-7 down. They looked body blown, very weary. The England and Lions players came off, and on came Saints' young guns, and they just absolutely went at Saracens. They scored 3 tries. Tarek Kafala replaced from Prop with 2, a penalty try in the other. Northampton have lost some key players through injury ahead of that Champions Cup final next week. Alex Coles, Curtis Langdon, James Ryan could well be injury doubts, but from a Saracens perspective, this is a massive blow to their top 4 hopes. They were cruising, they had the bonus point in the bag, and they've got some big questions to answer now. They stay in 6th, and they give huge hope to the likes of Bristol, Sale and Gloucester. Northampton win here 28-24.
Earlier on in the day's football, AFC Wimbledon beat Notts County by a 1-0, so they are in the League 2 playoff final where they will face Walsall next weekend. Scottish Premiership today, Celtic 1, St Mirren 1, Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 1, so Dundee United finish above Aberdeen. They're in 4th, Aberdeen in 5th on goal difference. Hibs finish 3rd after a 2-2 draw with Rangers, who end the season obviously in 2nd behind Celtic. Congratulations to East Kilbride, who will be playing in Scottish League 2 next season. They won the playoff against Bonnyrigg Rose 3-1 on aggregates. That ends an 11-year absence from the SPFL. Bonnyrigg Rose return to the Lowland League for the first time in 3 seasons. The Scottish Championship playoff final between Airdrie and Cove Rangers kicks off in just over 5 minutes' time. Airdrie lead 2-1 after the first leg. Second half of the FA Cup final on the way. Remember, you can watch it on BBC One as well, and if you want and hit the red button, you can sync the 5 Live commentary with the BBC TV pictures. Carl Hartley has the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Hamas has confirmed that a new round of ceasefire talks has begun with Israel and Qatar, hours after Israel announced a major offensive in Gaza. The Hamas-run health authorities say more than 250 Palestinians have been killed since Thursday. Here's the BBC's Gaza correspondent, Rushdie Abu Alouf.
Frustration in Gaza was very high this morning, but suddenly people started to hope that maybe these talks in Doha now can bring about something that stop the killing in Gaza.
President Zelensky has renewed his call for stiffer sanctions on Moscow after a Russian drone hit a minibus in the Sumy region, killing 9 people. The attack came hours after Russian and Ukrainian officials held talks in Istanbul. President Trump says he'll speak to the Russian leader Vladimir Putin about stopping the bloodbath on Monday. 3 Iranians who live in London have appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court, charged with spying offences on behalf of Iran's Foreign Intelligence Service. They weren't asked to enter their pleas. All 3 have been remanded in custody. At least 21 people have died after tornadoes tore through parts of 2 US states. Officials in Kentucky say there's been 14 deaths. 7 people were killed in Missouri. And firefighters have formed a guard of honour in memory of 2 colleagues and a business owner who died in a fire at a business park in Oxfordshire on Thursday. 2 other firefighters who suffered serious injuries in the fire remain in hospital.
If you love your pop, this is right up your street.
Pop Top 10 with Scott and Rylan.
We've picked some of the most hotly contested questions of all time and decided to settle them once and for all with the help of some special guests. We're taking it very seriously.
I can't let things like that slide on this show.
No, come on!
What are you on about?
Don't put words into my mouth.
I won't, darling. You're spatting them yourself.
Search Pop Top 10 to listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0 at the break here at the FA Cup final. Second half on the way, as now the majority of the stadium, majority of the pitch is now in shadow. The sun's still shining on those Manchester City fans away to our left. Speaking of the weather, it's had a big impact on the third round of the PGA at Quail Hollow. Ian Carter.
Yes, we had a big delay this morning, so a redraw, the players going off 2 tees in 3 balls, but some of the threats are starting to emerge onto the course, and one of those is the Spaniard Jon Rahm, former US Open and Masters winner. He's opened up with a birdie, he's moved to 3 under par, and he's within 5 shots of Jonathan Vegas's lead at 8 under par. The leaders will be out, Mark, at 6:55 BST, and the leading British contender is Matt Fitzpatrick at 6 under par in the final trio, just 2 shots off the lead.
Second day of the latest round of county championship matches. Sir Jimmy has been in action with the ball in hand. Stefan Schemmelt.
Yep, 309 days after that emotional farewell from Test cricket, he's eased back into county cricket. With 2 wickets, he bowled Caleb Jewell, the Derbyshire opener, and then he bounced out David Lloyd. You didn't see that very often from Jimmy Anderson in England colours, did you? Bowled 5 overs, 2 for 24. He's helped leave Derbyshire 97 for 3 in response to Lancashire's 458. And in case you're interested, he was 4 not out.
Listen to live commentary of that match at Old Trafford on the brand new station Sports Extra 3. All you've got to do to find it, go to BBC Sounds, scroll through the live radio at the top of the app, just tap on Sports Extra 3. There's also a Sports Extra 2, and every game has ball-by-ball commentary on the BBC Sport website and app. Not long now until kick-off in Super League. Hull KR in second, taking on struggling Huddersfield. Matt Newsom.
Yeah, Hull KR can go back to the top of Super League, and with the Wembley Challenge Cup final looming, the FA Cup final will no doubt be whetting the appetite of some of these Robins fans. Their team are in fine form as they welcome the team who are apart, bar Salford, who've gone through all sorts of hell this season, the very worst team in the competition. So the omens are very much against Huddersfield and Luke Robinson. Hull KR are missing a couple of key players. They've allowed them to rest in Petticoat and Jesse Sue. So Hull KR won 9, lost 1. Huddersfield lost 9, won 1. Well, that perhaps tells its own story. Hull KR Huddersfield kicks off, as you say, at 1:30.
As we were saying earlier, AFC Wimbledon in the League 2 playoff final here at Wembley against Walsall next week after a 2-0 aggregate win over Notts County. Here's their boss, Johnny Jackson.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable goal, wasn't it, from Josh? Where he got in behind there, controlled it, saw Bass off his line and just dinked it. I think it's a goal worthy to win any game, any tie, really. So probably should have made it a little bit more comfortable, to be fair, with some of the chances we had on sort of in the second half on the counter-attack. But we knew 1-0 would be enough today, and so it's proven.
It finished 1-0. It could have been 5. I mean, your side, they brought it all. They left it all on the pitch.
They always do, though, Aaron. Like they're such a great group of lads, and they give absolutely everything for the club, for the shirt, for me as a manager. I can't ask any more of the effort. If it hadn't gone our way today, it wouldn't have been through lack of effort or endeavour. So yeah, I'm just so pleased for them because they give me everything. They give this club everything, and they deserve their shot.
It's amazing what a couple of weeks in football can do, isn't it? The defeat here to Port Vale, followed by 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And the atmosphere is bumping once again, and everyone's looking forward to a trip to Wembley.
Yeah, of course. We wanted to finish in that top 3, and that started to slip away from us. And we've had to reset, we've had to regroup and go about it. Not go about it any differently, but just maintain a real positive mindset. We had to go to that Grimsby game, last game of the season, and perform under big pressure. So I think that game, getting that result was real good practice for these two as well, because you're in the mix now. These are high pressure games every moment. So I thought that the lads dealt with it brilliantly.
That was Johnny Jackson. So Walsall against AFC Wimbledon next weekend. Obviously Celtic won the Scottish Premiership title a few weeks ago, their 55th title. They've drawn level with rivals Rangers. They celebrated today in front of a packed Celtic Park after a 1-1 draw with St Mirren.
Celtic are now officially champions again in Scotland. 4 in a row for Celtic Football Club as they equal the 55 of Rangers. 120 major titles in Scotland. Their dominance in Scottish football continues. The dreams, the persistence, the risks, the pressure, all met by every single one of those players out there as they are rewarded with the top prize in Scottish football. And there's no stopping this Celtic team. 4 in a row, and Celtic are champions again.
We worked so hard all season for days like today. Players have been so consistent and so professional and produced some brilliant performances over the course of the season. So yeah, to finish it, we couldn't quite get the win, but also give credit to St Mirren, because I thought they defended so well. We went to a good first half. Second half, we put lots of pressure on, and then eventually James makes the breakthrough, which is the story of the day, really.
You've hit that 55 now. That's obviously a big thing when it comes to winning things in Glasgow. Most successful club in Scotland. There's a Scottish Cup around the corner, so everyone really wants to party. There's still something serious to be won in a week's time.
Yeah, well, I think we can really enjoy this.
Yeah.
Because this has been a long season through a long winter, and to come out here on a beautiful day, get the result, celebrate the league title, that is important to do that. But then come Monday, we'll get focused again, and we've got one more to go, and we'll be giving everything to win that also.
Brendan Rodgers, whose Celtic side go into the Scottish Cup final next Saturday, where they'll take on Aberdeen. In the F1, remember, if you were listening earlier, a couple of red flags delayed the qualifying eventually. Oscar Piastri finished on pole for tomorrow's Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is second. So Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0 here at Wembley as we wait for the teams to come back out for the second half. Maz Faruqi is behind the goal away to our right, so in front of those Crystal Palace fans who haven't stopped in that first half. Maz?
No, they didn't, Mark. Remember, before kick-off they unfurled that banner, didn't they, that read Wembley will shake and it will be beautiful. And the Palace end has not stopped shaking in this first half. It hasn't stopped bouncing. The flares going off when the goal went in, and then when Dean Henderson saved that penalty as well, and a spot of sunlight has just come through the window at the back of the stand just behind me, just bathing those Palace ultras in a little pocket of sunshine. As John said in commentary, they're certainly enjoying their moment in the sun right now.
Thank you, Maz. Dean Henderson, the first of the players to come back out onto the pitch. Ian Dennis, Sean Dyche with us, waiting for Clinton to come back from the toilet, the nervous bundle of energy that he is. It was I'm hoping and assuming, Sean, that VAR had better angles than we saw, because it was impossible to tell where his hand was for Dean Henderson when he flicked the ball.
We were keeping an eye on a couple of the replays, and I'm surprised, having seen it, on a couple of the angles, that it looks like he's outside to me. There's obviously a reason why, we have seen VAR make some mistakes this season, not as many as the previous season, but that looked outside to me. But they've obviously deemed it not, so it might be a big let-off for him.
And that's a great save for the penalty.
Yeah, I think he's made 2 or 3. They're savable saves, but they're good saves still. And he's proved himself to be a very, very good keeper, and particularly this season, I think.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, Clinton, isn't it? And Ian or John gave the stats on Erling Haaland this season. I think he's missed 3. He hasn't scored at Wembley. Marmoush has been in great form. Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is. And Sean, he said it as a manager. You never know. Maybe it's just him coming back from injury, and as I say, he's missed a few penalties. But if obviously you're the main man, you want to take the ball, and he did have the ball in his hand. I thought they weren't going to take it off him, and as you said, Mamouche has been in really good form, and you're right, hindsight is a big thing. If he's the penalty taker, Mamouche, you can't argue with him if you're Haaland on the pitch and say, I want to take it.
City have had the majority of the possession, haven't they, Sean? And yet you still sense if Crystal Palace get it right, as they did for a goal, there is a vulnerability on the break.
Yeah, no, I think we've seen that, more so with the Man City side this season than previous season. Turnovers and not being as effective on turnovers. But Palace have, said at the end of the first half, I think they've just got to use Mateta more, get the ball up to him a bit quicker, get around him a bit closer to him, and support him. Because if City have that much possession again for the second half, it's unlikely, or I would imagine they don't score. They're going to find a goal with that amount of possession.
Wayne Rooney has said at half-time on television, get rid of VAR, they've made a mistake, now they're trying to cover it up, it's a red card, everyone can see it's a red card.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's what we thought in here.
Yeah, we did think that in here. Yeah, we did think that in here. How have they got that horribly wrong then, chappers?
I don't know. Ian Dennis, over to you.
I was going to say the game has started. We're back underway in the second half, and Crystal Palace are leading by a 1-0. That 120-year wait for a first major trophy is an agonising 45 minutes away. As Manchester City, neither side has made a change. I'll run through the two teams as we look. City are attacking from right to left. In comes the cross. Haaland couldn't get there. Comes out towards Doku, shoots, blocked. And inside the penalty area, it is Sarr who gets the ball away towards Mateta. So very quickly I'll run through the two sides. Ortega is in goal for Manchester City. A back four of Akanji, Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly. De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Marmouche, Savinho, Haaland and Doku. And for Crystal Palace, City sky blue shirts and white shorts. Crystal Palace in their red and royal blue striped shirts have Henderson in goal. Back three of Richards, Guéhi and Lacroix. The wing backs are Munoz and Mitchell. Kamada and Wharton in the midfield. Sarr, Eza the goal scorer, and Mateta leads the line. Manchester City squandering that penalty, but they dominated possession in that first half. Here is Gvardiol, and now almost all of the playing surface is in the shadows. There's only a little bit, which Henderson, we said before that Ortega didn't wear a cap. Henderson is sporting a baseball cap in that last remaining little bit of sunshine. I don't know, about 12 yards up from the byline in that penalty area. Cross comes in from the right and Richards easily deals with that and clears it. Haaland didn't even attempt to make a move towards the ball, but Manchester City have quickly settled into a rhythm. Clinton.
Yeah, they have, to be fair. Savinho's run Mitchell twice on the outside.
Here is O'Reilly, lifts it forward. Haaland is there. Lacroix just comes across and got there with his head, and last touch off Haaland is a goal kick.
The first one where he goes and he stands it up to the back post. How many times have you seen throughout the season of Haaland coming in at the back post and there's only one winner? It was brilliant defending from Chris Richards.
Does the game plan change for Crystal Palace, or do they just keep doing what they've been doing?
I wouldn't think so. The hardest thing they've got now is that old favourite. It's like, it's stick or twist. And they go, right, we're just going to keep our shape, defend it out, and then wait for the breakaways, which I think they probably will. Or if Man City start piling on, do we find more moments on the counter-attack and just take, I wouldn't say big risks, but just maybe loosen off at times, But I think they'll go tight and cagey and do exactly that. Get it up to the big fella and go and work around him.
Sean Dyche and Clinton Morrison are with us. BBC Radio 5 Live, also available on the BBC Sounds app and the World Service. And you can watch the pictures on BBC One, but also listen to the 5 Live commentary through the red button and the website. As Manchester City looking for an equaliser. Bernardo Silva, out it goes towards Akanji. Savinho gives the ball back to him. He returns the ball towards Savinho, who runs forward, sends over a cross over the head of Marmouche. Comes towards Doku, lets it settle. Right-footed curler, just over the top of the crossbar. Goal kick. Couldn't find the target on that occasion.
It's coming, Deno. It is coming. Savinho is causing Mitchell all kinds of problems. For how good he was in the first half, a quick 1-2, and he's got to recover quicker. And it's good. It comes to Doku at the far post. He's trying to bend it into that far corner. But yeah, it feels like, Sean, probably the same as it in the first half, the way City have started.
Yeah, and you'd expect a reaction, wouldn't you? I don't think they played particularly badly, by the way. So I don't think Pep will be going in there shouting at them. I don't think they're saying, lads, stick to what we're doing. It will come. You've just got to keep believing in what you're doing.
Well, Henderson on this occasion, he's not going to take the goal kick short. He's told his central defenders, no, you go downfield, I'm going to go long.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing for this particular performance to do.
By the way, his record at saving penalties in his career. That's the 10th penalty save from 26 that he's faced. That is a hell of a ratio.
Yeah, it's a good ratio. He must do his homework. His goalkeeper coach must do his homework. It's a fair play to him.
And it was funny, I was speaking to him in the last England set-up in March, and at that point he actually hadn't featured in the FA Cup, and he was actually generally worried that, you know, as some managers do, Pep Guardiola with Ortega, for example, that the second goalkeeper, the second choice keeper, gets a run, the cup goalkeeper, if you like. He was generally worried he wasn't going to get into the Palace side. Throw for Richards into the penalty area. Eze hits it first time. That was blocked. Wharton's hit it, and it's actually struck his own player in the head. And as a result, and it is Gahey who's gone down, and he got it full on in the face, and that's why referee Stuart Atwell has had to stop play.
Yeah. So even things like that. So I know it sounds simple, but they kick it up, they get the second balls, they get a throw in. Next thing you know, you get a chance, you know, and you don't want to rely on that all the time. But in this type of game against a side like Man City, why not? You know, it's a good weapon to change the feel of the game and keep Palace, you know, keep breaking the play, the way the game's playing and the way Man City are playing by using your strengths. You know, getting players around there, getting the ball forward early.
It was a good block back. I think it was a Akanji, because Eze got his right foot over the top of it, didn't he?
I was just about to say there, Deno, the block from Akanji is outstanding, because Eze does. He gets over top of it and he hits it cleanly. I don't think Ortega saves it, but Sean's right. Get up the pitch, and Chris Richards can launch it into that box. And we see City are vulnerable from defending set pieces. Every time Palace have got the first contact, he's unfortunate there because he gets it flush in the face on Mark Gahey.
Gahey's still down, he's still getting treatment. It's a reminder that 606 is coming up at 7, 08085 693. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking your calls. And tomorrow, 5 Live Premier League Sunday, West Ham, Nottingham Forest 2:15, Arsenal, Newcastle United with the Murray brothers, John and Glenn, at 4:30. The Women's FA Cup final, we've now got 3 audio streams on Sports Extra. And so the Women's FA Cup final, Chelsea-Manchester United, will be on Sports Extra 3. Basically, just scroll through the live radio dial at the top of BBC Sounds app, and you'll see Sports Extra 2 and 3, and you'll be able to listen to that, because Brentford-Fulham will be on Sports Extra 2. But this is a lengthy stoppage. He's been such an important player for Crystal Palace down the years, the England international. But it's at least now starting to sit up. Earlier on, by the way, you referenced about in the midfield Wharton and Kamada. Wharton hasn't played a full 90 minutes since September, so at some stage you're thinking either Lerma or Hughes are going to come on for him.
Yeah, he won't play a full 90 minutes. There was a doubts over him. Obviously, he had an injury last week at the Tottenham game that he picked up. So yeah, he won't play the whole 90 minutes, and it will be either Hughes or Lerma. I think in a game like this, you need legs in midfield. I think you bring on Jefferson Lerma.
Well, they're still checking on the welfare of Mark Gahey, as Oliver Glasner, who is the first Austrian to take charge in an FA Cup final. The last 2 new manager nationalities lost. The German Thomas Tuchel, who is actually here today, lost with Chelsea and Avram Grant when he was lost in 2010 as well. So Oliver Glasner is hoping to add the FA Cup to the Europa League that he won with Eintracht Frankfurt. He was a runner-up with the German Cup 2 years ago when they lost to Leipzig. Did win the Austrian Cup a couple of times as a player. He's been linked with Tottenham. He's also been linked with RB Leipzig, funnily enough, as well. But he's done an incredible job, actually, hasn't he, Sean, since he arrived at Selhurst Park?
Yeah, and like I say, earlier this season didn't go so well, you know, but stayed calm, stuck with the plan, stuck with what he believed in the team should do, and they've been rewarded for that. And some of the players performed something. We've all seen it in the second half of the season. Terrific points return.
Got to be said as well, he was very fortunate that he came in where there had been solid foundations put in place from Roy Hodgson during his time at Selhurst in South London. 8 minutes into the second half, but that was a lengthy stoppage, and Stuart Atwell drops the ball at the feet of Lacroix, who strikes it away downfield, and Eze, the goal scorer, chases after it, but it runs away from him and out of play for a throw. And Gahey's still not on the field of play, but he's standing up on the far side. He'll have to wait that customary time to re-enter it.
Yeah, the 30 seconds. But the physio's it's a difficult situation. I was thinking, surely he would know if he's right or not.
It drives you mad, that.
Yeah, it does.
He's just been smashed in the head with the ball. You know, he's not feigning it. He's not trying to waste any time. Just get him back on the pitch for me.
Temporarily, they're down to 10. Akanji towards De Bruyne, the Manchester City captain. City still trail by 1-0. BBC Radio 5 live in the World Service. Bernardo Silva out towards Doku. Doku just 6 yards in from the left touch line to Gvardiol. He goes square. The referee has to skip out of the way. Diaz plays the ball forward. That was a heavy touch by De Bruyne that allowed Mateta just to swivel and clear it downfield, and Ortega, in his luminous orange goalkeeping outfit, passes the ball forward. Gehi races back onto the field of play, and they're back up to their full complement of 11 as Palace protects this slender lead here at Wembley as we're into the 10th minute of the second half. Bernardo Silva running forward, leaves it then for Gvardiol. Gvardiol towards Diaz, 2 out to the right. Ball forward by Gvardiol. O'Reilly gets his head onto it, actually comes outside the box. Wharton will head it away. Gvardiol heads it forward, under control now by Doku. Munoz, though, wasn't being drawn out of position. Now it's with Gvardiol once again. His short forward ball. O'Reilly gives it back to the Croatian, and then left-footed out towards Akanji, the right back for Manchester City. Savinho holds and provides the width on that far right side. Infield towards De Bruyne. Early ball in. Blocked by Lacroix. I think he's had an excellent season, Lacroix, for Crystal Palace.
I agree with you, Dan. They lost Anderson and they thought, how could they replace him? I think they bought a better defender.
Gvardiol with a cross just over the head of Marmoush, and Mitchell will clear it, and then it will go up towards the halfway line. But 10 minutes into the second half, Manchester City seeing a lot of the ball. Here is Akanji. Bernardo Silva runs forward. Out towards Doku, closed down by Munoz. Sarr also helping out as well. Doku accelerates, the little turn by Bernardo Silva. Good block comes in. Bernardo Silva tries to get the ball back. That was Kamada.
What a block from Kamada. And you know what? Palace fans were critical of him at the start of the season, saying he don't work hard enough. He just made a goal-saving tackle. That's what you want. Brilliant block.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Two other things have been terrific today for City is Silva. He keeps probing, he keeps making runs, he keeps breaking the back line, he's passing, his energy to go and get the ball and make things happen.
De Bruyne in the sunshine on this near side with a corner kick the left. He goes deep. Haaland gets his head to it, back towards the near post. Punched away by Henderson. Haaland's first effort blocked, and then he hits it actually on the volley left-footed, and he couldn't keep it down, and he skied it. It's well off target. Goal kick.
Yeah, they are a threat. It's the same as the first half, and Palace will know for the majority of the second half they're going to have to defend.
Yeah, but they're looking at about 20% possession or something so far during the game, so they're going to have to defend properly, and they're going to have to be diligent to the task of working without the ball.
You know, clearly the talking point in the first half was the potential sending off of Dean Henderson. As a manager, when you know that the decision has gone against you, how much does that needle you on the touchline? How easy is it to say, put it to the back of your mind?
Yeah, I get your point. I mean, it has to go. It has to be parked because the decision's been made. I mean, we're all questioning that one, but it has to be parked, and that's the only thing you can do. But it does rankle with you for sure.
Sarr with a cross,
especially a decision as big as that.
Yeah, and it didn't drop, and eventually City were able to clear. So into the 12th minute of the second half, and Palace still lead through that Eza goal after 16 minutes. Counter-attack, Munoz with a cross from the right, on the run. Eza took it ever so well. That takes his tally this season. He's got about 6 goals in his last 5 appearances. He's having an excellent campaign. Richards with the throw into the penalty area. Lacroix was there. He leaves it. Munoz strikes it, takes a deflection. Munoz steers the ball in. City never dealt with it. And on the right-hand post, Munoz applied the finishing touch, and Crystal Palace have a cushion. Wild celebrations away towards our right-hand side. I think it's fair to say they are glad all over they lead 2-0.
I'm not celebrating just yet, Dano, because there might be an offside, but I did jump off my seat. If it is, I think they will check it because there might be an offside in this one, but it's a good finish from Munoz.
The first effort was almost trickling agonisingly towards the goal line, but he was the quickest to react, to his credit.
And what I will say is Mark Gay is still struggling because they've just called in the physio over. But I'm watching the replay here. Yeah, he's offside. He's offside. It hits Ismail Sarr. Ismail Sarr's in an offside position. The goal will be disallowed. It deflects off him, hits Ortega, and then Munoz puts it in. It's offside.
Yeah, you'd be very surprised if this stands, wouldn't you?
Although you could say that VAR's already missed one decision today.
Well, that's probably why they have to get it.
But you're right, it did strike Sarr, and that's what actually took it away from Ortega. So those celebrations will be cut short, I'm sure. Munoz thought that he'd given them a cushion, but this will be ruled out. Although,
why does it take that so long to make the decision? We can see here, he's offside. Yeah, I'm telling fans in front, sorry people that are listening, I'm telling them he's offside. He's offside.
Let's go pitch side. Maz Faruqi.
As you say, the Palace fans behind me here don't know yet that the goal is likely to be ruled offside. They're not happy about that. They've just heard it now and seen it up on the big screen. But as Clinton was saying, Mark Gahey didn't run to celebrate with the Crystal Palace players. He definitely doesn't look right.
OK, we'll keep an eye on that then on Mark Gahey after that blow that he struck in the face. In fact, the physio's been on again and he's still there with him. So there's going to be just a slight delay here anyway.
Making a change then. Lerma's going to have to go into centre half. It's a huge blow to lose Mark Gahey, and now this is where the game could change.
Well, Lerma's no stranger to playing there, is he?
No, he's not, but he's not got the quality that Mark Gahey has. I think he just gives you that composure and stuff. But you're right, Lerma can do a job there.
So Lerma is going to come on. Mark Gahey is going to have to go off. He's handing the captain's armband to Lacroix. Lacroix, who actually was made captain by Oliver Glasgow when he was 21 years of age, when he was at Wolfsburg. Gahey turns to acknowledge the Crystal Palace support. Let's get an update in the Rugby League. Matt Newsom.
Yeah, Hull KR 4, Huddersfield Giants 0. They might have another try as well, but Joe Burgess finishing off a brilliant move on the left-hand side. The kick was missed. Hull KR 4, Huddersfield 0.
So Mark Gahey, whose contract expires in 2026, there's no sign of any extension yet despite the talks. So Lerma comes on to replace the Crystal Palace defender and the Crystal Palace captain.
Then the Man City physios has jumped over to go and argue with Palace, and he's picked on Paddy McCarthy. I think he's picking on the wrong fight there. He's got no chance of winning that one. I'd leave that one alone.
Well, still words I think are being exchanged. The fourth official actually is having to tell one of the Manchester City coaching staff just to calm down. But we're back underway. It's been a good cup final.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's kind of playing out how we suggested it might do. More to come, obviously, but yeah, it's been exciting. It's got, chances, saves, decisions, all the things that make it an exciting cup final.
And Palace still lead by a goal to nil. European football, perhaps, at Selhurst Park. Anglo-Italian Cup a couple of times in the 70s. You actually featured in their last foray into Europe, Clinton.
Oh, did I? Didn't know.
As Marmouche runs forward, De Bruyne on the overlap, into the path of the Belgian, cross on the run, blocks, and De Bruyne can't get there, and Palace are able to get the ball away, but it's still inside the Palace half. Forward ball by Diaz, and then Gvardiol out towards Doku. Doku comes in between two Palace players, places his cross rather than firing it over from this near side the left, as City attack from right to left, and then it's cleared by Munoz. So the game against Samsunspor in the Intertoto Cup doesn't really register much in your career.
Yeah, Samsunspor, but what was the score?
You lost 2-0 in both legs.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't remember defeats. Sean will tell you that. No one remembers defeats.
You only played in the second leg in Turkey, actually, as a substitute midway through the second half.
How old was I? 19.
Well, it was 98, so...
Yeah, I was a baby then. It was experience for me.
It was only your second appearance, actually, for Crystal Palace.
Okay, I'll take that.
So I'm not surprised that you probably can't remember it. 63 minutes played. We're in the company of Clinton Morrison and Sean Dyche. And Crystal Palace lead by a goal to nil, but there is still a long way to go in this FA Cup final. But the Palace supporters are generating a terrific noise away towards our right. Ball up towards Mateta, rolls away from O'Reilly, kept in play by Gvardiol on this near side. Gvardiol now with Bernardo Silva, drops in between the two central defenders, runs forward into the centre circle over the halfway line. Akanji is out wide to his right, Savinho just ahead of him too. Crystal Palace drop off, every player in their red and striped royal blue shirts are back behind the ball. Diaz again, midway point towards Bernardo Silva. Mateta goes towards him. Pep Guardiola is desperate to get some instruction, I think, across towards Akanji, the way he was signalling as he watches on with his beige trousers and his black t-shirt. as this is with Akanji. They're having to be patient, Sean.
Yeah, I think Man City play with patience. They're not going to worry about that. I don't think they get flustered. They know they can find a chance, certainly a chance if not a goal. Palace are doing everything right so far. They're managing the game. You know, that it's staying focused all the way through the match. Every minute, every second counts, and that's going to be the challenge.
This is Savinho, right corner of the area. Again, they've doubled up on him. Infield to Akanji. Gives it back towards Savinho. Crystal Palace have only conceded 1 goal in this FA Cup run so far, and that was against Millwall. As Diaz now with Gvardiol. Doku, left-hand side. Working hard though, Crystal Palace off the ball. 65 minutes played. De Bruyne finds Savinho. Akanji on the overlap. Crosses into the penalty area, easily claimed by Dean Henderson. Confident take to Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, really good. Dean Henderson, he's been outstanding. He's been commanding. He's had to make big saves and slowing it down, and that's what you're going to do. I'm surprised he didn't dive on the ball. I know it's still early, but that's what the goalkeepers do nowadays.
Absolutely.
Henderson, now that the sunshine is completely off the playing surface in its entirety, still sporting the baseball cap as it goes back to the feet of the England international, and then left-footed, he clears away downfield up towards Mateta. Involved in a good challenge there with Gvardiol. On the cover to head the ball away was Diaz. Nice little touch by Haaland. Just cushion touch off the top of the left boot. Tried to play the ball towards Marmoush, but now Munoz, he was being pulled back. That should be a yellow card. It'll be the first yellow in the cup final, and it will go to the youngster Nico O'Reilly.
Good play from Munoz there, really good play. He's had to do a lot of defending, and he loves getting forward, so it's probably been hard for him. He's had to be disciplined, but that's what you want. When you're under pressure, someone buy you a free kick? And it's good play from Munoz.
Richards waits to take the free kick. Nico O'Reilly, one of 5 changes that Pep Guardiola made for this game here today after the goalless draw against Southampton last Saturday afternoon. Richards hoists the ball out towards that far side. Remember, Manchester City missed a penalty in the first half. It wasn't Haaland who took it, it was the Egyptian Marmoush, as the ball is spread out towards this near side, the right, and Doku takes it away off Munoz, but he's forced to concede the corner kick, Sean.
The more set pieces they can get, the more breaks in play, not just to change the feel of the game. Palace look a real threat. They've looked a threat from long throws, anything long, anything physical, they've looked a real threat from.
Well, Palace have scored the joint highest goals from set pieces in the Premier League this season with 16. Manchester City have conceded goals from corners in both the league encounters against Crystal Palace. That 2-2 draw at Selhurst back in December, and then that one when they met 35 days ago, although City did come back to win that by 5-2. But it's a corner kick on this near side. Palace lead by a goal to nil. BBC Radio 5 Live. Wharton to take it left-footed. Goes very, very deep. Headed back goalwards. Headed away by Gvardiol. And then the ball is knocked into the air. Haaland is back to head it. Drops towards Kamada. And that was dipping right-footed, but the referee's blown his whistle.
Yeah, I think Ismail Sarr was in an offside position and he went for it and he stopped, so he put off Gvardiol. But yeah, it was great technique from Kamada. And as Sean said, Kamada and Wharton have done brilliantly, but it gets to that time now in the game where do they get tired legs in it? Do they have to make changes?
Well, there is activity down below, and there's activity in the commentary box too. We're midway through the second half, and here's John Murray.
Well, that's flown by as well, I must say, but one thing you can be absolutely sure of with the stoppages, at the moment there must be probably 6-7 minutes to be added on, and obviously that could be extended, so this could become very, very nervy. At 1-0, clearly it's a precarious lead, and here's Diaz as Manchester City attack towards the half where all of the sky blue is. It's been a brilliant atmosphere today, I must say, for an FA Cup final. Here's De Bruyne on the edge of the area, received it from Bernardo Silva, but Crystal Palace are able to smuggle it away, and Wharton plays it downfield for Sarr to chase. Every time I watch him, Crystal Palace's number 7, his energy is extraordinary. The ground that he covers. City come again. That could be a theme of the next 25 minutes as Wharton in on the challenge with Kevin De Bruyne, and that is given as a free kick by the Manchester City captain on the young England midfielder.
He's done well. He's bossed them too. I know Bernardo Silva's been good, but Kevin De Bruyne, you thought he's been a bit sloppy in possession at times as well, and you expect better from him, but I think Wharton's done well. He relishes games like this, John. Relishes games like this. That's why I think he's got a bright future in the game.
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel setting up in the stands in the tier above where we are, the England manager. There were 5 England players on the pitch for Palace at the start of the match. Obviously Gay's gone off now, but Adam Wharton, I'm sure, will be the object of his gaze. 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Clinton Morrison and Sean Dyche with us on 5 Live in the World Service. We'll hear from Sean again in a moment with Palace, with Kamada. What a block that was from Bernardo Silva in the 6-yard box early on in the half from Kamada. Long pass from Lacroix, now taking over as captain from Gay. This is for Munoz to chase. Munoz grappling with O'Reilly, who's on a yellow card, don't forget. And then in the end, Munoz, a little over physical in the end, concedes the free kick.
You know they bought him for 12-15 million. He is going to be one of the signings, one of the best signings ever. I think his energy, they say he travels around the world and he can come back on a Thursday and still be the fittest up and down. I've seen Wharton do an interview about him. He said, I don't know where he gets his energy from. Fantastic.
Yeah, this is the Colombian right wing back. I've actually got it down, Clinton, as £6.8 million.
I'll take that then. I knew Dougie Freeman didn't know what he was talking about, John.
Well, I suspect he might know better than what I've got written down here.
No, you're right, I'm wrong.
Yes, Diaz, out to the right hand side. Savinho. Pep Guardiola yet to make a change. There's Phil Foden on the substitutes bench. Here's Bernardo Silva after by his standards, disappointing season. Bernardo Silva back to Doku. Doku takes on Munoz, left-footed cross, gone a long way to the edge of the area. Eza couldn't get it away. Palace dispossessed. Back heel from Savinho. And now little ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, deflected back out to the right-hand side. Savinho with a cross, but that is blocked away by Mitchell for a throw to Manchester City down the right. We've got less than 20 minutes of the 90 to play, and again a new chorus comes out of that stand to our right. All of the white shirted Crystal Palace supporters in the middle behind the goal that is being defended by Ortega. He's closer to the halfway line, Ortega, than he is to his own goal. De Bruyne gets it back on the edge of the area. His shot is blocked. Massed ranks of blue and red, the Palace shirt on the edge of their penalty area. Now Doku again, another chance to have a go at Munoz. Plays it back to Guardiol. Square from Guardiol. Diaz is there. Diaz rolls it out to the right-hand side to Savinho, and the little Brazilian begins to move it infield, then plays it back centrally again. Diaz lifts one out to the left-hand side. Doku gets that down. Palace are being tested here. They're being pulled from side to side. Back to De Bruyne. Right foot shot. And that's blocked by Wharton, who just threw himself in the way of it. I think it did hit him on the head, certainly on the upper body, and he's ended up flat on his face inside the penalty area. And Stuart Atwell has blown his whistle, and we'll have another stoppage.
Yeah, and it's a great block. It's good play. They did open them up. They kept moving it side to side, Man City. And you thought De Bruyne, when it comes to that, he finds the far corner. But it's a brilliant block from Adam Wharton. Now, what I would say is Eze and Mateta have not been in this game in the second half. You need to get them to it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, we know, like we were saying, Man City, they don't really panic. You know, the only thing I'm surprised at the moment, they're not servicing the box as much, but they probe, and you saw De Bruyne fire it into Haaland, lays it off. You know, that's what worries me. You know, the more they do that, it puts doubt in Palace's mind. And to keep focused, as I say, you've got to keep focused every second, because Man City, they can pick your pocket at any moment. And as you said, I think Palace, it's difficult to keep doing. Don't get me wrong, it's possible, but you would think they're going to have to do something to just get a bit more of a foothold in the game. If not, it's just going to keep being relentless from Man City.
They've got this long stoppage here again, though, just when Manchester City were building up ahead of steam. Yeah. City players now, I mean, they look frustrated. Their body language to me. Pep Guardiola's just called across Guardiol and O'Reilly, and he's spoken to them animatedly. He's pacing around. Pep Guardiola hoping today that his team were going to win the FA Cup for the third time under his management. So that would equal Sir Alex Ferguson's record of winning the FA Cup and the League Cup 3 times or more. But at the moment, it's going to be Crystal Palace's day, and time is just beginning to run out. Wharton is having to be led off the field. It looks like he will come back on, but again, Palace are down to 10 men for a period of time, and a drop ball resumes play. Doku on the left flank, but Guardiol's attempted ball is blocked away. Sarr chases that towards the halfway line. De Bruyne puts in the challenge, and now they bring it forward with Doku. Still going Doku. Mateta had to get to his feet there. He was down. Square to Bernardo Silva just outside the penalty area. Bernardo Silva into the box. Savinho's cross. That's blocked by Mitchell. He's appealing for handball, saying that it struck the arm of the Crystal Palace defender inside the penalty area. Play continues though. VAR will be looking, of course. Kevin De Bruyne now finds some space on the edge of the box. O'Reilly's through with a chance, but Palace defenders arrive, and between them they're able to block the shot of the young fullback. Still Manchester City. Marmoush goes for goal. I think that flicked the foot of Lacroix. It did, says referee Atwell, on its way wide. It's a corner.
You know why he doesn't score, O'Reilly? Because he wants to get onto his favourite left foot. That's a player who can't use his right foot. The pass from De Bruyne is outstanding.
Absolutely. Do you know what? His work as well off the ball to go and get it back.
They're taking the corner short. Doku then to De Bruyne, plays it across into the middle. Bernardo Silva tries to get between two Palace players, doesn't do so, and then there's a foul by Bernardo Silva on Mateta, who is bringing the ball away. That's a yellow card for the little Portuguese, and it's a free kick for Manchester City. And I doubt Jean-Philippe Mateta, JP as they call him, will be springing back to his feet here.
No, it could be his last action, because I see Eddie and Nketiah getting ready. I hope it's not, because I think he's pivotal. I don't know if he comes in one of the wider areas in Sarr and Eze, but I think it might be Mateta's last kick.
Phil Foden, and now this is a surprise, we're going to see a debut for the young Argentine, Claudio Echeverri, the number 30, surprisingly named on the bench today. He was signed in the January of last year, but went back to River Plate on loan, and he's making his debut, his first senior competitive appearance for Manchester City in the FA Cup final when his team are 1-0 down.
Yeah, fair play. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, if you're Jack Grealish, what are you thinking? How you've not come on this pitch at the moment? It's someone who's not really had a lot of game time at Man City, but obviously Pep sees something and he believes it.
I was going to say, he's not a bad judge.
Yeah, exactly, that's it, exactly that.
If he's training every day with all these players, he must think he's got a bit.
Exactly.
So Phil Foden also onto the field, as I say, garlanded with all of the honours this time last season, but for the first time in his season has had a frustrating and disappointing time of it during this campaign for the most part. But here's an opportunity, if ever there was one, for Phil Foden.
Yeah, he's had a quiet season. It's not the season that you expected from Phil Foden, but as I said, big players turn up in big games. He is a big player.
And you're absolutely right, Clinton. Eddie Nketiah has just been called forward as well, so I think we're going to see a second Palace change too. But Pep Guardiola making that double change with less than 15 minutes to go of the 2025 Emirates FA Cup final, with Crystal Palace that far, plus added time, away from their first major trophy in their history. Formed as a professional club in 1905. These are big moments, potentially. Little word, but has big meaning as they try to hold out against Manchester City. Diaz to the right-hand side, and then it's stabbed forward. Akanji gets it back on the right-hand side. There's a flick down the line by the newly arrived Foden, and then the ball's blasted across from the right.
I'm just really surprised, that they. I know Man City, worked against them and they probe and they play, but they're not servicing the box enough for me. They're looking for the purest moment. You've got Haaland in there, go and give him something, change the field, go and service the box with quality crosses and go and ask more questions for them.
So that's it for Jean-Philippe Mateta. It's been quite a story for him in the FA Cup this season after what happened to him against Millwall, and he's still wearing the headband that protects his ear. Needed plastic surgery after that collision with the Millwall goalkeeper. Missed a penalty in the semi-final, remember? And off he comes. Let's go down to the touchline to Maz Faruqi.
Still noise from the Palace fans, John, but a little bit more muted. Definitely nerves building this end of the ground as they watch those seconds tick by in the second half now.
Thank you very much, Maz.
See, I don't know with Henderson. I'm not sure you can hit Eddie Nketiah like that. Maybe you have to hit one of the wide men, get Munoz or Sarr further up, because he's not winning the header, Nketiah. He's the one who wants to spin him behind.
Straight swap, by the way. Echeverri is playing as the number 10 in the Marmoush role that he's fulfilled today. Chasing this ball now, but Lerma got there comfortably and was able to head it back to Dean Henderson. You weren't listening in the first half with us on 5 Live or the World Service. Dean Henderson, absolutely central figure. If it stays like this and he keeps a clean sheet, all the talk 6:06 later with Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage on 5 Live. 08085 909 693. Dean Henderson, who appeared to handle the ball outside the area and would have been shown a red card. VAR ruled that he didn't, and he stayed on the field, and he saved a penalty from Marmouche. Here is Kevin De Bruyne now trying to wriggle his way through to the edge of the area. The great Belgian still going, still keeping the ball at his feet, out to the right hand side. This quite possibly his last big day in an occasion like this for Manchester City before he leaves the club after his 10 years of service. Here's Doku now on the right hand side. Doku into the penalty area, but Palace have got plenty of players there, 2 men for him to get past, and Chris Richards was the third line of defence, and he was able to clear it away to the halfway line where Gvardiol keeps it in play against Eddie Nketiah. Eddie Nketiah, who has won the FA Cup here in his Arsenal days as a substitute, as City again with Bernardo Silva to Akanji with Foden ahead of him now that Savinho has been substituted. Back it comes from Kevin De Bruyne. Ruben Diaz comes forward, tries to join in the attack. Last Saturday afternoon, Manchester City were frustrated by Southampton. Now it is all one-way traffic. Manchester City against Crystal Palace in the cup final. You would think, wouldn't you, in all of those minutes of play, that this Manchester City team would find a way through. De Bruyne plays it forward, that took a deflection, and that's carried it away and behind for a corner from the right, Clinton Morrison.
And Nketiah comes on, he's got to be better on the touchline here. He has to be stronger, try and buy his team a free kick. Just come on, be strong.
Absolutely, them little moments are really important to Palace now. Breaks there, I couldn't agree more. I was thinking, go on then, get hold of it. Just get hold of it for your team. But whatever you do, don't let it come back into play, and don't let them come back at us.
Manchester City corner, Foden to take this. It's a high left-footed corner. Haaland's underneath it, but heads it up, under pressure, high over the crossbar, and the big Norwegian stands and stares at the floor as he walks away, and it's a goal kick to Crystal Palace. Latest rugby scores in the Rugby Union: Bath 12, Newcastle 8. There's commentary of that right now on Sports Extra. And in the Super League, Hull KR 4, Huddersfield 0. And tomorrow, the Women's FA Cup final here at Wembley Stadium. You'll hear that on the brand new Sports Extra 3 on BBC Sounds. 1:30 kickoff. Premier League commentaries on 5 Live. West Ham against Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, Newcastle. But this is the cup final as Munoz attacks down the right. Doku puts the challenge in. Munoz goes down. That wasn't given as a free kick, and Doku's able to play it away. And then De Bruyne, and now Bernardo Silva goes for a long pass. Palace could be stretched here. Haaland lifts it forward to Foden. Foden into the penalty area, but Mitchell is with him. Mitchell puts in the challenge. That bounces to Echeverry. Now back to Foden, and then De Bruyne. Echeverry from the angle, saved by Henderson, and then it is scraped away by Palace and out for a throw.
Ravi has to square that back to Kevin De Bruyne. The pass from De Bruyne is outstanding. He's trying to beat him at these near posts. It's brilliant. If he cuts it back to Kevin De Bruyne, he's got to tap in, hasn't he, Sean?
I tell you what, you're so right, but I tell you when that starts, fantastic from Doku. Absolutely fantastic team play that. Goes and wins the ball back, gets turned, finds a pass. Definitely. They turn and they're on the attack. But yeah, at the end there, I mean, he's got excited, and he's thinking, I'm going to score in a cup final.
Yeah, he did.
Another day, you just square that, and it's a tap-in.
Yeah.
He's only 19, Sean.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
what
I'm
he's
not knocking him. I'm saying he's excited.
He's excited.
Anyone would be excited.
I would.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I'm getting overexcited as well. It's Bath 12, Leicester 8, not Newcastle. So throw-in for Manchester City on the right. 6 minutes plus added time.
Yeah, but you're right. That's probably about 16 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Clinton Morrison, former Crystal Palace striker. Great to see Steve Coppell and Alan Smith sitting together here. Those were the previous great days when Palace reached the 1990 finished third in the league as well under Steve Coppell. Gareth Southgate's here as well, former Crystal Palace man. Roy Hodgson as well used to go and watch Crystal Palace when he was a little boy. I think he got the bus to go and watch Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. They're all setting up in the Royal Box. We're down here watching Manchester City attack. Now Akanji, square towards Diaz. Right-footed ball in from Diaz. Chris Richards is there for Crystal Palace to head that safely away, and it bounces down, and Kamada just pops it forward to Sarr. Then there's a challenge. on him, but referee allows play to continue. As a cross-field pass, Sarr's chasing this, but Ortega comes across his penalty area and is able to take the bouncing ball. He could have brought that back for the foul, but he played the advantage, and I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do, for sure, because Eze was in a good position. He just overhits the pass to Ismail Sarr. He put a lot of effort in. He looks tired in his second half.
So we are in the 84th minute. Here's Doku. Manchester City come again. Manchester City, having already made 3 changes, breaks down for City, groans from the sky blue, and then there's a foul by Kevin De Bruyne, and Eddie Nketiah ends up sprawling down onto his face, and a yellow card for Kevin De Bruyne for the challenge. I suppose he was breaking away.
Yeah, he was. It's the right decision, and that's what me and Sean were saying, we're alluding to with Eddie Nketiah. Can you break up play, and can you get your team free kicks?
And also, the detail in Man City, I don't like knocking them, because I do think they're first class generally, but them little moments, this season I've had more of them moments, giveaways, soft giveaways like that, it just allows the opposition to a foothold. Little things like that can change the flow of traffic, especially when Palace are having so little possession. Them moments are important.
The Palace supporters, who have been brilliant, are trying to do their bit to our right. Their noise has been incessant, and for once Palace are attacking towards their end, and Sarr tries to win a corner off Bernardo Silva, but misses him altogether and just effectively passes the ball through for a goal kick.
Yeah, and he looks tired. He looks flat out on their feet, to be fair.
Well, that's the challenge now.
That is the challenge,
right, that's the challenge.
Will Hughes is coming.
The focus and the concentration now, that's the biggest thing now for Palace.
Oliver Glasner's responding to that.
There's another one, them little moments I was talking about. Another turnover out of nothing.
Kamada does well again. Kamada then to Eza. Now here's Munoz. Munoz rolls it forward to Sarr. Sarr's ball across, took a deflection, but is cleared away by Diaz, who got there ahead of Eddie Nketiah. Now Wharton slides in onto this. Eza brings that down. Eza, the man who scored the only goal of this FA Cup final so far. Back to the halfway line. Lacroix. Wharton is still down, I presume.
He's coming off. He's the one coming off. His tired legs, John.
Yes.
He's put a shift in.
You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to work that
exactly.
As now it's played into Munoz. Munoz shoots across goal, but that is wild. And arriving in the middle, Sarr and Nketiah, but he went for it, Munoz, but dragged it right across the face of goal.
Shot cross, wasn't it?
Yeah,
when you confuse your thing, shallow, and he's ended up that in between.
You're right, Clinton.
He's a star, John. He's going to be a star in this work. Wharton. I didn't know when he picked the England squad, Adam Wharton, when he didn't get in that squad, the first one too cool. But let me tell you, if he can get a run of games, he'll be in the next squad, that's for sure.
Well, he's picking the next squad on Friday.
Well, if he's not in it, there's something seriously wrong.
He looks up to the heavens. He's had injury problems this season, hasn't he? When you'd have been itching, wouldn't he, to continue that upward curve this season? But he's done certainly well enough, and off he comes now in the 87th minute. And Will Hughes, what a servant he's been as well for Crystal Palace. Just been given a new 2-year contract, hasn't he, at the age of 30. Over 400 career appearances now for Will Hughes. City inside their own penalty area with Bernardo Silva in the 6-yard box, passing it forward for Gvardiol.
No, it's not fair. It makes the game look too
terrific.
easy.
Yeah,
I
think he's been terrific.
He has. He's been outstanding.
Yeah. When you see him at his best, you wonder how you could ever criticise him, and he has been criticised this season. As this latest City attack breaks down, Eza passes it forward. Nketiah goes over there and does well, wins the throw-in on the halfway line, drew the challenge from Ruben Diaz. So it's a throw-in. Phil Foden asks the Palace supporters to give him the ball back, which incredibly they do. And then he gives it to Palace to take this throw in.
You're not wrong.
Couldn't do it.
What's that all about?
Yeah. Hey, he's taking the best player off for Man City, Bernardo Silva, for Gundogan.
Wow.
Surprised at
that.
Yeah.
Mind you,
yeah, he's not bad. It's not a bad replacement.
Yeah, that's having right, but I think Bernardo Silva's been going and getting the ball, making it, making players play, and that's an art in itself. I'm very surprised, but like I say, he's putting on Gundogan, who's not exactly a mug.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Sean Dyche and Clinton Morrison with us here at the Cup Final on 5 Live, and the World Service all on BBC Sounds as well, as the ball is played back towards the edge of the penalty area. Rugby Union on Sports Extra. We've now got Sports Extra 2 and 3 as well on BBC Sounds, with all manner of live commentary, including the golf later on tonight, which will be on 5 Live later on in the evening from 10 o'clock as Palace break. Ball played forward, but an offside flag against Nketiah. You called that one, Clinton. Of course you did.
Because I made them runs my whole career. My manager would go mad and say, why can you not time your run?
Well, I have to say this has got shades of Leicester City against Chelsea a few years ago. The FA Cup over the course of 30 years has really been dominated by a cabal of the top clubs. But Leicester had their day, Wigan had their day, Portsmouth had their day, and today might be Crystal Palace's day. But not yet. De Bruyne, now to Gvardiol. We're in the 90th minute at Wembley. Doku on the left-hand side, back to the edge of the box. De Bruyne, now Gvardiol, turns it again back to Doku. Doku trying to weave up position, still going Doku, across a crowded penalty area, but forced out of the box, and in the end plays it back to Diaz. Little pass from him, Phil Foden over there on the far side, back to De Bruyne, makes himself available, puts his foot on the ball, and he turns and he plays it square, and he gives it to Gvardiol, and Gvardiol looks up, sees all of that red and blue in front of him, red and blue of Palace. Again, the volume increases from those Crystal Palace supporters. It's going to be 10 minutes of added time. That's what they don't know yet, but we'll see the board go up very shortly. Doku on the left, Doku back to Gvardiol, into the penalty area, little ball to O'Reilly, then a cross goal from Echeverry. It was the youngster again who snatched at it and hit it high across the 6-yard box and beyond the far post for a goal kick. And there is the board. 10 minutes are shown to the Crystal Palace supporters, who groaned, but they must have known it was going to be something like that.
I know, but that's just nasty, isn't it?
That's nasty. It should be 5, John, not 10. Where'd they get that time from, John?
Well, I can understand, Clinton, your emotions at this time. All of our thoughts are with you. It's a goal kick. Let's go down to the touchline to Maz Faruqi.
Yeah, the Palace fans have not stopped singing, have not stopped chanting, have not stopped clapping in the second half, John, save for a big groan that went up when the board reading 10 minutes went up. They are, though, now still back up cheering and hoping to see their side through in the stoppage time.
1 minute of the 10 have been played as Foden tries to get away on the halfway line. It's kept in field. Jefferson Lerma, by the way, was booked in the middle of all that. I'm not sure what that was for. Whether it was something he said, I don't know. Yellow card for Lerma, though. So throw in to City. They take it quickly. Here's Kevin De Bruyne. Goes deep to collect the ball. All of the trophies that he's won with Manchester City. They unveiled a mural for him this week. Doku into the penalty area. He's challenged by Munoz, who put his body into him, put his hip into him. Doku went down, got back up. Nothing doing from the referee. City still in possession. Akanji. Then back to Gundogan. Further back to Akanji, now to his left to Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne looks up, and it hits it. Oh, Cabana missed it on the edge of the area, and he was fortunate there. He was almost wrong-footed by that. Got his foot caught in the ground, but Palace were able to clear. Again, City come. This is going to be the way of it for the next 8 minutes. Gvardiol now to the left-hand side to Doku. Doku against Munoz again. Also back there is Sarr. He's got 2 Palace men to beat. Goes to the byline, crosses it. It's headed out to the edge of the area. De Bruyne brings it down and shoots wide. Henderson diving to his left, but wide by 2 or 3 feet.
He's been good, Doku, over the last few minutes, hasn't he, Sean?
You know what, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, I thought Mez was knocking him down very well, but you know, he's stuck at it and he just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah. He looks really lively. He looks the one who's going to create. I think Sarr has to come up and start doubling up on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oliver Glasner there, Europa League winner with Eintracht Frankfurt, is now just a few minutes away from being an FA Cup winner, the first Austrian manager in the FA Cup final. He said this week, you don't talk about the egg before the hen has laid it. I think we can see that egg. It's not out yet, though, as Doku wins a free kick on the halfway line.
He needs to get up, Munoz. He needs to get up. You don't want any more added on time. He was just rash there, and he needs help. Sarr has to drop in now. There's only about 4 or 5 minutes to go. Has to drop in.
Yeah, that's what Oliver Glasner is telling him, all in black on the side of the pitch. Pep Guardiola watches, Echeverry now. Echeverry shoots, it's blocked. He ran into trouble. He ran into congestion along the edge of the penalty area. Hughes plays it forward for Palace, but Eza's not reaching that.
Tell you what, De Bruyne keeps probing, you know.
Yeah, he does. They're giving him too much time and space, aren't they?
They have to lock him down.
They have to lock him down. He's the one.
Yeah, that's the sentimental story for Manchester City in the FA Cup final. Just a matter of weeks of his Manchester City career left. Can Kevin De Bruyne make the difference right at the end? And that's excellent play for Palace, and a foul as well, which has been won for Palace halfway inside their own half.
These breaks of play, you know, are so important at this stage of the game. Even the simplest thing like that, just gaining a foul for your team and slowing Man City down and taking the sting out of the game.
Yeah, right. Oh, I thought he was going to show De Bruyne another yellow card there, and I'd have said he just been booked, but it's Rivas who's got the yellow card.
Yeah. And
Echeverry, sorry.
Yeah, who's yellow carded for that challenge, and it's a free kick. Another sign here that the end is not too far away. The blue rope has been put in position just down to the left of our commentary box. That's where the players will come up to receive their medals and the trophy. Crystal Palace's players with this scoreline. The ball is down in the Manchester City left-back area. Palace will be happy about that. Sarr shielding it, and Nketiah went down, doesn't get the free kick. Gundogan takes it away. Palace have got to be back in position. We are now in the 5th minute. 5 minutes of added time still to go. Akanji stretches his legs, brings it forward. He gets it back from Foden, then back to the halfway line. Ruben Dias all on his own. Palace with everyone back behind the ball. The clock about to tick into the 96th minute. 1-0 Crystal Palace lead in the cup final. Never won a major trophy. Doku into the box again, trying to find a way through. Bounces back to Guardiola. Hughes gets there first, hence the chorus of his surname from the Palace supporters. Pep Guardiola, 10 yards out of his coaching area. He fields the ball, gives it to Gundogan. Throw taken quickly. Diaz now to De Bruyne. De Bruyne back to Diaz. Diaz now picks out Doku. Again they look to Doku to take on Munoz. Round the outside, cross deflected, and it's stabbed forwards by Echeverry, and Henderson makes the save again. Comes out to Gundogan on the edge of the area. Henderson now, I've lost count of how many saves he's made in this match to keep the score to 1-0. Again, City come forward. Akanji's volley across, bounces across the box. Echeverry, that's blocked by a Palace defender. They're shouting for handball. Echeverry saying it struck the defender's arm, but it was at point blank range.
I don't care how if it struck his arm. He's point blank range. It's good. It's a good block from Will Hughes.
Now we're in the 7th minute. I beg your pardon. We're in the about to move into the 7th minute of added time. City again. This is relentless from Pep Guardiola's team against Crystal Palace. Doku now, 2 men on him, into the penalty area he goes. He tries to pick out the pass to Diaz, then back to Kevin De Bruyne, and then in comes the challenge from Eddie Nketiah, which deflects it away to the halfway line. Ortega is there. Ortega quickly back to Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne with Nketiah in front of it, square to Diaz. Manchester City have been in this position countless times. Foden plays it in over everyone and through for a Crystal Palace goal kick.
Magic moments for Glasner, for his team. Magic moments when the overhit crosses like that. Yet again, calms the game down. They can slow it down, take the sting out of Man City.
I don't know if I could talk, John. Maybe Sean has to take that. The voice is going.
Well, there's.
Nah, I'll be here. I'll be here.
There is a
first.
There's a new FA Cup record.
I'm still here, John. I'm still here.
Yes, I thought you might be. We are now in the 98th minute. We're into the last 2 minutes of added time. Crystal Palace supporters have come from far and wide, from every corner of the globe. They've come certainly from South London, over the river, here to Wembley Stadium, and they are braced. They are ready now to make a noise the like of which you have never heard from Crystal Palace supporters ever. Here's Ortega, now Diaz. This would be an absolute heartbreaker. Manchester City stretching every sinew to find the equaliser that would surely take this to extra time. De Bruyne's ball into the penalty area looking for Foden, headed out. Gundogan, that's down, back to Gundogan. Now Akanji places the pass to Foden. Foden now trying to work a position, but Mitchell does his defending diligently. De Bruyne now over the top, curls into the penalty area. Henderson comes and allows it to go by and bounce behind. And now we are in the 9th minute of added time. Seconds to go. The scene to my right, Crystal Palace supporters on their feet, every single one of them, flags being waved. That's the noise. Manchester City supporters, what a season they've had.
If they can get through this last minute, you've seen a team that can win a game without the ball. 22% possession, probably the second lowest of all time. Yeah, I know, and it does, but that's a different way of winning football.
There are now less than 90 seconds to play. The ball bounces for Palace. Gvardiol is able to get there first. Offside. I think the referee will allow play to continue. He does. In fact, no, he's going to bring it back. So it's a free kick. Played all the way back to Gvardiol. We now have just over 60 seconds to play.
John, is that clock stopped?
Someone's got to come out and get even half a press on.
Gvardiol. Back to Kevin De Bruyne. This could be last chance territory for Manchester City now. Manchester City, what a season they've had. All of the disappointments, all of the defeats. Big favourites here. Doku bringing it infield. Doku thinking about the shot. 25 yards out, plays it square. Diaz now over on the right wing. Back to Doku. Doku out on the right. Hughes in front of him. Left foot shot. He's dragged it well wide. And the Crystal Palace supporters greet that as though they've scored a second goal. It's only a goal kick. And now we're in the last 30 seconds. They will have come in hope and expectation, but I'm not sure how many of them will have believed.
I've never ever seen a ball go out for a goal kick and a crowd cheer. Fair play, Mike.
Fair play,
absolutely.
Come on, John. How long to go?
We've got 7
Surely
seconds.
He's got to blow this whistle now. Come on.
7 seconds of waiting. Goal kick downfield.
Yes!
The whistle goes. Crystal Palace have just won the FA Cup. They've beaten Manchester City. What a turn-up this is! What a moment for all of South London, around Selhurst Park and beyond. Wherever you wear red and blue, this is the moment you've been waiting 120 years for. The scenes in the stands here, the flags, the celebrations, the Palace players down there running into one another's arms. The man who scored the goal, Chiesa, pulls off his shirt. He's surrounded by his teammates. I swear you can hear half of Wembley Stadium shaking right now. And that's what that banner said before the game. Wembley will shake and it will be beautiful. And in the sunshine, here in northwest London, on the 17th of May 2025, the greatest day in the history thus far of Crystal Palace Football Club. What a day. Clinton Morrison.
I'm speechless, John. I can't believe it, to be fair. I never thought in my lifetime I'd see Palace lifting a trophy, so they deserve it. They were fantastic. To a man, outstanding. Glasner is coming there, a special manager. Go down as one of the best managers in Palace history, and it was a great togetherness. I don't want to be here, John. I love working with you, but I want to be on the pitch celebrating, but I'll stay here with you. But yeah, what a day, what a day.
Yeah, the only Crystal Palace manager to have won a major trophy. He's keeping us cool out there, Sean. You know the top of the game, you know what it means, you know what every manager tries to do.
You know what I always say against these big games, big teams, you've got to play well. You try and make them have a quiet one. You might even need a decision or two. And today, massive decisions gone their favour. But guess what? They've stuck to game plan. They've delivered a performance that can win a football match, and they deserve it.
Sean Dyche, Clinton Morrison, stacks and stacks of talking points to come out of this on 5 Live. 6:06, Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton will be ready to talk about it. But what a day. What a day for the red and blue. What a day for the Eagles. They're soaring high above Wembley Stadium. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0.
There is an awful lot to unpick from that FA Cup final, but at the moment it's impossible, if you are here at Wembley, not to marvel at the sheer joy that is taking place down below us and to our right, where those Crystal Palace fans have not moved from their seats, bar to stand up and dance and cheer and sing. And the club is down there, Sean, not just the players, but backroom staff, media staff. There'll be more who can't get down there at the moment who will be partying tonight. They are all together in celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fantastic. Well, we said before the game, the build-up to this game, it was smelly, the smell in the air, as I call it. You could sense it. Everyone's thinking this could be a change. This could be where Palace do win. They could deliver points like they have done. Said about keeping it tight, said about keeping it cagey, and you might have to wait for your chance. I've done that, but for everyone to enjoy, everyone part of the guy, I've got to give credit to Steve Parish. He was getting a bit of stick about a year ago, and he's stood by what he does. Got the club out of administration, or nearly administration, many years ago. Credit to people like that, stood by the club for a long, long time, but mainly to the manager and his players and the staff. Absolutely fantastic achievement, amazing.
How are you doing, Clinton?
I'm alright, I'm happy. It's a bit emotional, Chapper.
Good, so you should be.
It's emotional, it's a special time. I know what this club's been through. I was there when they were in administration, and you thought the club was going to struggle. Sean's right, the job Steve Parish does. I spoke to him yesterday, he was nervous, knew how big the game is. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that they've done at this football club. We're not a big club, but we're going to Europe, and you know what happens? You go to Europe, Chappers, you might be able to keep one or two of your gems, who knows, you know what I mean? So it's a great day for them, let them enjoy it.
Well, and on that performance today, but also all season, it's not just one or two gems. Arguably today,
11 gems.
11, 12, 13, 14.
Gems. Yeah, they were outstanding. I said, he's so detailed, Oliver Glasner. Everyone knows their role. I've been to the training ground and watched training. He works them ever so hard, and you're thinking, some players where they can't be bothered. Not can't be bothered, but you're not a training day player. Like Eze's not one of those who wants to run up and down. He likes to showboat. In training, he puts in 100% effort. So that's down to the manager, and fair play to them. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, I agree with everything Clinton's saying. Not because of Man City. I thought Man City were excellent, by the way. I think, people forget that. They've done everything they could, apart from the final moment. We know that. They've had a decision go against them. They kept probing. They kept going at it. They missed a penalty. So there's no lack of desire for them to win it. But fantastic for Crystal Palace. 22% possession. I used to, have to get told everyone you can only win games with possession. Well, they've shown a different way of doing it today. It's been a massive way of doing it to get the result.
That was a Sean Dyche performance. I don't care what anyone says. You can say what you want, and you get the result in the end. I'm all for you can say possession, but it's all about who wins.
You can win football matches in so many different ways. If you're going to look at that, if you're going to analyse that tactically and look at it from a Palace point of view, very, very rarely was any single one of them out of position when Manchester City got the ball. And I thought the way both wing-backs and Eze and Sarr doubled up but knew where they needed to be on City's wide men was a phenomenal effort.
Second half of the season, they've built that kind of mentality. Really, it must be good management and coaching, but also you put the players out there. There's lots of good managers and coaches. The players deserve a lot of credit. Going out there and sticking to task, it's not easy. When
That's
you've got players
a mental and a physical exertion.
And to keep doing it throughout the whole game and get 10 minutes of extra time, you need a twist of fate. You need people to play well. Your keeper plays well. That's important. They get the rub of agreeing with the decision. That's important. But massive credit to them. Massive credit to the club. They've been through some ups and downs, but it's been a massive second half of the season for them. To finish it like that is just incredible.
In amongst all the handshaking and congratulations between players and staff or whatever, and Pep Guardiola was effusive in his hug for Oliver Glasner at the end. Ian Dennis, he did go and have a few words with Dean Henderson, did Pep Guardiola. I don't know exactly what that was about. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, I can't wait to hear his thoughts after the game, because undoubtedly that's the turning point. For me, it looked like it was outside the area, but he's had an inspired game, Dean Henderson. Regardless of that, then you've got to get on with it, and he's made numerous saves. I've got to say, I was outside when the final whistle sounded. That was a genuinely spine-tingling moment to hear those Palace supporters celebrate, and there was a lovely moment there as well for Joel Ward. He's leaving Selhurst Park after so many years, I think 13 years of great service. He's just had his own moment, just walking across to acknowledge he's only played twice this season. He was on the bench today, another unused substitute appearance for him. But for Joel Ward just to acknowledge the Crystal Palace supporters, superb.
But Sean and Clinton, you will know, obviously, that just because you're not appearing for the first team week in, week out anymore, the job that he is probably doing behind the scenes and training day in, day out can't be underestimated.
Yeah, Clinton probably knows better than me, but I know a bit about him. Ian Wono spoke fantastically well of him, the professional that he is. I think they've got a good group here. I think they've got a number of top professionals here. You know, Guy, I think the way he conducts himself, fantastic. You know, that's important in a dressing room. It's important in a club to have them figures who are just so solid and consistent with who they are as people, not just players.
It's going to be one heck of a celebration inside Wembley. There is an awful lot of emotion amongst these Crystal Palace fans and players, as you would expect. Let's hear from Dean Henderson as we wait for both teams to go up the steps here at Wembley. He's with Kelly Summers.
Dean, massive congratulations. It's deafening down here. You have just written your name into the history books, part of the first Palace team ever to win a major trophy. How does it feel?
It's incredible. We had a feeling it would be our day today. The whole week it's been building up. The manager's got a game plan. We executed it. We deserve this so much.
And as for yourself, an eventful game, particularly in the first half. Firstly, talk me through that penalty save.
To be fair, Haaland might have stepped up. I wasn't sure which way he'd go. He gave it to Marmouche. I knew which way he was going.
He's the best! He's the best! He's the best goalkeeper!
I knew I'd say that.
Were you a little bit fortunate? Were you nervous that you weren't going to be on the pitch for that after the VAR check just before?
No, the ball carried into my box, so I knew I was fine. It held up, it was a bit dry, but it doesn't matter. Who cares?
We know what this means for Crystal Palace team, but what does this mean for you? You left Manchester United to make a name for yourself. You've certainly done that.
Yeah, that's what I set out to do. But honestly, I lost my dad at the start of the season, and I'll miss him here today, but he was with me every kick of the ball today. And I dedicate that win to him.
So that was Dean Henderson with Kelly Summers. Look, on the angles we have seen, Ian, that ball was outside the box, and the version that PGMOL have given is that they were looking at that whether that was a red card or not. They deemed it not a red card offence because they deemed that Erling Haaland was going away from goal if it had gone to him, and therefore that isn't, in their view, a clear goal scoring opportunity, and that's the only thing that they can check. They can't then decide whether it's a free kick or whatever. I mean, John and Sean are looking puzzled at me, but that is what we have been told. That is what PGMOL told our TV colleagues. That's what Gary said on the telly at half-time. That is what they have said.
Well, Sean, you'll probably know better than me, but Erling Haaland's cleaned through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he's on the edge of the area.
That big quick fellow who keeps putting it in the net. I bet he weren't going to get it and score, apparently. From 4 yards away.
It's an interesting one.
Even with my Palace head on, that is bizarre, chappers. That is bizarre. Yeah, he got away with one.
The only thing I would say from a referee's point of view is that is a defender and the striker is making a diagonal run away from goal, it wouldn't be classed as a red card, and he was making, so I can see that, but he wasn't even booked.
I was going to say, didn't get anything.
No, and it was probably.
But then they can't go back, and
they couldn't give the booking.
They can't go back and do that.
No, but the other thing is, it was a good foot outside the penalty area where he swatted it with his hand.
Let's be honest. If that was the other way round, that would be merry hell to pay.
Absolutely.
At the moment.
It's going to be interesting to see what Pep says about it, because I think he'd be furious. I certainly would be. You FA Cup final, for goodness sake. You can't have a decision like that. I don't personally think. I think that should have been cleared up straight away. And that's nothing against Palace. I think it's a magnificent achievement what they've done. And nothing against Pep Guardiola. There's no sides here for me. I just think that's a decision that was clear to me.
Why are you looking puzzled?
Well, I just think it's highly debatable, and it does come back to clear and obvious, doesn't it?
What's debatable? Whether that was a clear goal-scoring opportunity or not?
Yeah. As I said, Erling Haaland is running through. If Henderson doesn't do that, Haaland's going to get a touch on the ball.
It's a sending off, chappers. You can't break it down. No bones about it. As Sean said and John says, he's one of the best around. He's in that position. He puts the ball in the back of the net. I don't care anyway. It's a good debate to have. I can't wait to see what Pep says, but I'm happy he stayed on the pitch.
And that is why when Rooney said at half-time, get rid of VAR, and they've just tried to come up with a reason why they haven't given a red card, and it was to say that Erling Haaland was going away from goal. At the moment, John, Pep Guardiola is leading his Manchester City team up the stairs and to get their runners-up medals.
Yes, and the Crystal Palace squad have now moved away from their supporters, who are, I mean, every man jack of them are absolutely still in place. The other half of the stadium, I mean, it's going to be difficult enough for those Manchester City supporters who've got to get back to the northeast, to the northwest. It's going to be hard enough for them to do that tonight. So I think probably understandably many of them have vacated their seats and left. And up above us, the Manchester City players are receiving their runners-up medals. That wasn't how Kevin De Bruyne hoped it would be today as the captain. He is the last man up the steps. Pep Guardiola was there as well. In fact, he's just passed us now. Pep Guardiola, he's come down the steps and he's walking smartly down the steps back towards the pitch side, and the rest of the Manchester City players are coming down here as well. Of course, this is not the end of their hopes of winning in 2025. They will next. They've got to finish the Premier League season first, of course, and try and finish as high as they can, and it is Bournemouth at home on Tuesday and then Fulham away next Sunday, but then it's off to America for them to the FIFA Club World Cup. But I see the Prince of Wales just above us is having quite a lengthy discourse with Kevin De Bruyne, who I have to say doesn't look in the mood for speaking.
I was going to say, that's just what Kevin De Bruyne wants at the moment, is a long chat with dignitaries, as he's just lost an FA Cup final.
Yeah, he looked as though he was being told off by the teacher, didn't he? And just sort of going along with it, politely nodding his head. So there we are for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. It's not often Pep Guardiola has lost a cup final. Only the fourth time he's lost a major cup final as a manager. And I see him just now on the pitch going across, Pep Guardiola down there. And he's with Mateta. He's giving him a huge slap on the chest, and congratulations, and Sarr as well.
Do you think there will have to be a frustration that Dean Henderson made a couple of great saves, there were a couple of great blocks? There wasn't chance after chance after chance, and I know we're crediting Crystal Palace for their defensive structure and their work rate and concentration, but given the options available, the last 10-15 minutes it was basically get it to Doku and see what we can get.
Yeah, I mean, I thought De Bruyne stuck at it, still trying to probe and, ask questions of the defenders by changing his style, but I mean, look, they're top class Man City, what they've delivered for years. But I would say today, I just thought, just change that. It's hard to thread constantly. On the other hand, I mean, they played 2 or 3 reverse passes, got in the position to score goals, and the final moment of truth is putting it in the net, and they didn't do that bit. So, a different day, you could certainly see them scoring at least. I'd be frustrated in a way for Pep, because I don't think they've done a lot wrong today, Man City. They've dominated the game, they've dominated the ball, which we know they can do. They've asked so many questions. The keeper's played great. The Palace keeper, that is Henderson. They've had a bad decision go against them, and they've missed a penalty. I don't think you can ask that much more of them, actually, of Man City, if I'm Pep.
I also just watching the City players with the Palace players, I think they've been class in how they've congratulated them. And Erling Haaland, when he came down the stairs there with his runners-up medal, he made a specific point, Clinton, of going over and giving Joel Ward a massive hug before the Palace players start their walk up the stairs.
Yeah, and they've been there many a times on Man City, so they know what it feels like. This is Palace's first time, but yeah, Joe Ward, he's leaving the club, so as we said, he's had so many good years here, and they're very respectful, but they like that as a football club, and I think that leads from their manager right through to the players, so fair play to them.
They're getting ready to get onto that balcony and lift the FA Cup. John Murray.
They've got their GoPros ready as well, I see. And Oliver Glasner is waiting on this level, so this is the back of the lower level, and if we look to our left through there, we can see at the steps that lead you up to the Royal Box, that's where Crystal Palace's players and Oliver Glasner are waiting. And this, for Crystal Palace's supporters, let's not forget, the reason that we care so much about this competition, the FA Cup, is because it is the oldest existing football competition in the world. It dates back to 1871, and this is one of the pieces of the fabric of British society, one of the cornerstones of the British sporting summer. That's why we care about it so much, and that's like when many people don't like it being tinkered with. But on days like this, for Crystal Palace, they remind you of how great it is. All smiles. Oliver Glasner, all in black, which very much contrasts with how he must be feeling. And he's up there on the top tier and he's leading his players. They're off up the steps now, disappearing one by one in their red and blue. And they've got flags and scarves. I see Joel Ward is up there as well. I wonder whether he might get called forward to help lift the trophy. We'll see. But Oliver Glasner now is making his way along the line. The FA chair, Debbie Hewitt, shakes his hand, and the Prince of Wales, Prince William, places the winner's medal around his neck. The manager gets that first, and I'm sure Steve Parish will have been there with a huge hug. As Sean Deitch has said, Steve Parish, I mean, for him, these moments, and there he is actually, the two of them. I think there was a cuddle, there might well have been a kiss as well. Steve Parish, who really rescued this club 15 years ago, and the rise and rise, and now here we are. They are winners finally in one of the major competitions of the English game. And there's Steve Coppell as well, clapping his hands. He nearly did it. He came so close to doing it, Steve Coppell, and now he's here to see this generation in 2025 receive winners' medals. Dean Henderson, who I guess might well have been named as the man of the match, I'm not sure. He's certainly the figure of the match, and he's received his medal. And we should say as well, Dean Henderson last year went through horrible grief, really. His dad, Dougie, and his great friend, George Baldock, both died last year. And he's had a brilliant season, and he's had, as well as the controversy, besides that, the saves that Dean Henderson has made today have helped to take Crystal Palace to where they are now, on the balcony in front of the Royal Box at Wembley Stadium. So we're just waiting now for the captain, the man who's last in line, Mark Gay. There's the goal scorer, Barichi Eza. He looks almost embarrassed to be up there. He's got one hand on his neck and he's shaking his head as the Prince of Wales talks to him. And now we're just waiting for the captain, Mark Gay, who is going to step forward. And Mark Gay, the England defender, the captain of Crystal Palace, any moment now is going to be handed the FA Challenge Cup. And he actually, just in front of him, Joel Ward puts his hands on the trophy and then steps to one side, and they're waiting now. So this is the moment that they've waited for decades and decades. Joel Ward is going to lift the trophy. He's been given it. The man who's leaving Crystal Palace after 13 years this summer. What a great servant he's been. Remember his clearance off the line in the playoff final when Crystal Palace were promoted to the Premier League here. Well, here is the moment. Here is the moment that Crystal Palace lift the FA Cup. Joel Ward makes sure that Mark Gay has a hand on the FA Cup as it is lifted high in the sunshine at Wembley Stadium. Glad all over. That is the tune, that is the sound of Wembley Stadium. They've never known anything like this. They are over the moon, over the blue moon, you might say, after this memorable victory against Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. Crystal Palace, finally, it's their day in the sun.
There aren't many better songs to have Clinton to celebrate with, are there?
Nah, this is brilliant. This was in my time as well. It's probably my son. Goal scorer Clinton Morrison, and he used to play this. Brilliant times. Daichi likes that one. It is a great song though. It's one of those songs where it's a catchy song and it's brilliant, and they can play it all night, all year now for all I care.
What's lovely in all of this as well, and John mentioned Steve Coppell, Sean, it's lovely to see Gareth Southgate, Roy Hodgson, and obviously Mark Bright,
Alan Smith,
and Steve all those people who over the modern history of Crystal Palace, really since the late 80s, early 90s, have helped build them or rebuild them, and for them to be able to enjoy this.
Yeah, and Roy and Ray took it through, a sticky spell, and settled things down and calmed it down. And Oliver Glasner's come in and done a fantastic job and moved it on again. And, I think it's been I don't know all the ins and outs, but from the outset, you always think it's a well-run club. And trying to get better, trying to go to a next level, it's hard to get there. I mean, they've done it this season. I think they've matched their biggest ever points tally. They've got 2 games left, and they've won the FA Cup. Fantastic, but where can you keep going to? I think it's very, very difficult. So for them to have a season like this and win this amazing trophy is incredible, I think.
They are going to stay on that balcony for a little while and celebrate, and then they'll come down the steps here at Wembley, and they'll make their way over to a little plinth that's in the middle of the half that they attacked in the second half in front of their fans, and they will celebrate there. And interestingly, Manchester City all stayed to watch Palace lift the cup, and there's one man in the Manchester City camp who has just been left in a little shaft of sunlight before now making his way off the field, and that was Pep Guardiola. Hands in pockets, and he just, as he comes to the touchline, he just kicks something away, walks through his technical area and heads down the tunnel.
It's a serial winner. At the end of the day, he's a serial winner, so he's not going to enjoy that. But the sign of respect, the mark of respect, is the way they've conducted themselves, I think. And I think that is respect. I think Pep Guardiola, I'm sure he's got respect for all managers. He knows how difficult it is, but he's a serial winner, and that'll still hurt him. That's the way it goes. But I think what he does and what they've done is amazing. So for Palace to beat them and do that today has been equally, if not more amazing in a different way.
We'll wait for them to come down the stairs.
Come in here, chappers. Look, Glasner's got that jumper that he said he was going to wear.
What?
I swear,
has he put John's favourite jumper on?
He's got the black jumper on.
I'll tell you what, Clinton, he wouldn't need that jumper in here. It's 125
it's
degrees.
cooking in here, isn't
it?
This is always one of the nice things when you are in this sweltering
You
booth
get to see
here.
everything, don't you?
You get to see them as they come past, and they are...
I want to bang on the window, but I can't, chappers. I've got to be professional.
No, well, they might bang on the window back, but John Murray, you can say it's lovely, these bits, because they're a little bit out of public view. Oliver Glasner looks like the calmest man in Wembley as he walks. But there you go. Clinton and Eddie and Ketty are banging on the window together. But he does, John, doesn't he? He looks like the calmest man.
Yeah, he does. He is serene. Here's Dean Henderson just walking past us now. And of course, we've got Palace supporters just in front of us. In Munoz coming down the steps. Clinton was talking. He's got the flag of Colombia draped over his shoulders. And Ismail Assar as well. Here's Lacroix. Clinton's been a big part of this season.
He was absolutely immense, wasn't he?
Husey, Ebbs, look at him.
He's got the plinth. He's got the plinth in his arms. Abarachi Eza with all of the names of every club that has won the FA Cup over the many years. This is the 144th.
Has the cup actually come down?
I don't think Mark Gahey and Joe Ward have come yet, so we ain't seeing that yet.
I'm looking round the corner.
I don't think they've come down the stairs yet, but he is getting older, Joe Ward, so take him a bit of time to get down the stairs.
There's some military top brass here out of the box to my left, waiting at the bottom of the steps, but we're still waiting for those feet to appear. Maybe they're still in conversation with Steve Parish and co. Up on the in the Royal Box.
I think just while we're waiting for that to come down, I must give a mention, Clinton. He did get mentioned earlier, briefly, but the work done behind the scenes before and with Oliver Glasner, Dougie Friedman.
Dougie's been brilliant, and he's leaving in the summer. You're right.
That's such a difficult role now. The recruitment side.
Yeah.
They do spend a bit, but they haven't got the same spend now of everyone else.
No,
Bringing in players have to kind of work with and develop.
Yeah.
I think that's been a good side of Palace over the last few years.
100%, I agree with Daichi. They're losing Dougie Friedman in the summer. His recruitment's been outstanding.
It's difficult to think of many they've got wrong over the last couple of years.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. And even the ones that maybe, because Mateta got questioned, don't forget, the first couple of seasons, massively questioned. But the last couple of seasons, he's matured and he's learnt the game and he's learnt about the Premier League.
We're still waiting.
Are they milking it, them two? Like, one played half a game and one didn't come on.
You wouldn't milk it, would you?
I would milk it, actually. You know me too well.
Here you go, John Murray. There are some feet coming.
Yeah, they come. Yeah, it is Mark Gay.
Hey, any danger? Look at his eyes. Eyes swollen, to be fair. He's in a bad way. His eyes. He did get that.
And here's Joe Ward with the FA Cup in his hands. That brilliant trophy. I don't think there are many better designed sporting trophies than the FA Cup, and he is cradling it. He's carrying it as though it's made of fine bone china, Joel Ward.
That's a lovely touch from Mark Gay and Crystal Palace to let Joel Ward bring that down. I'm sure Crystal Palace fans, you will want to have your say on 6:06. Robbie on the way very shortly. Robbie?
Yeah, listen, what a game, chappers. Obviously, I'm doing the trail because Chris Sutton's scared to death of Dice Sheet. We know that. So it was it was a fantastic game. Listening to you talking about should it have been a sending off, I think it was. Haaland touches the ball there, and the scoop from Henderson outside his box. It's got to be a red card. But for Crystal Palace, what a win! 1-0, name on the trophy. Brilliant game. I'm sure City fans on the way back, Palace fans will have called 08285 909 693, and it would have been nice to have a Crystal Palace legend there today as well.
Well done, Sam. Love you, mate.
They are. Thank you, Robbie. 08085 909 693. They are making the Crystal Palace fans wait here, and the photographers wait. Joel Ward and Mark Gay just getting on the correct shirts that they're being given by the media department at the moment. They still have the FA Cup. The rest of the Crystal Palace squad on the plinth with winners 2025 behind them. They've already sprayed some champagne. They are getting slightly impatient as Joel Ward and Mark Gay make their way towards them. One hand each on that FA Cup, and they now stand in front of the board with the rest of the Palace squad behind them. They lift that, they spray the champagne, and the Palace fans cheer yet again, and they will be cheering for a while yet as the ticker tape goes off. And let's hear from the goal scorer, Eberiche Eze, who a little earlier spoke to Kelly.
Ebere, you've just stood in front of me and said you've got no words. Please try and find some, because you've just scored the goal that has won Crystal Palace the FA Cup for the first time in the club's history. You're shaking your head. Just what does it mean?
This is special, man. I don't even know what to say, man. Honestly, I'm just grateful, man. What? Thank God. Only God could do this, man, because we've come here how many times at the club? 3 times, facing a team that's been the best team in the world for how long? So to show that type of spirit, that type of energy, only God, man.
Let's take you back to the very start of the game, because you had 15% possession before you scored. What was going through your mind in that period, and then when that counter-attack started?
I just couldn't breathe, man. I couldn't breathe. They keep the ball so well. You got to work so hard to get anything from them. Yeah, but we also know that when you get up there into their box, you got to take the chance. You got to make it count. And I'm just thankful to God that I went in today, because it's not easy.
Let's not forget, for you, you've had a remarkable few years, but age 18, you'd faced so many rejections from so many different clubs. Does that make this moment even more special?
If I'm honest, I don't try to forget, but I forget about it, but you guys keep reminding me about when I was 18. I've obviously come a long way from them. God is good, he's helped me, he's given me the strength, and to be in this position now is special, man. I can't, it's hard to use the right words here, man. I don't know.
Enjoy the trophy lift.
Thank you very much, I will.
And he did. Eberiche Eze talking to Kelly Summers a little while ago. It was a good goal, wasn't it? I mean, it was a perfectly worked plan to hit City on the break, and they all delivered in that goal.
Yeah, they've done that, during this second half of the season particularly. I didn't think they did it enough, to be honest, get it with a bit of quality into the front, but the way they countered from that moment was superb. The final pass in and the final finish, absolutely top draw.
There was a bit of a ding-dong, wasn't there, John Murray?
Yeah, they're just replaying the pick. We mentioned it, I think you mentioned it, didn't you, that there'd been a bit of an exchange between Pep Guardiola and Dean Henderson, and Matt Turner actually came across and stepped in between them, the substitute goalkeeper for Crystal Palace. So whatever was said it wasn't well done, old boy, I don't think.
08085 909 693 if you want to put your calls in to Chris and Robbie. Final thoughts and feelings, Clinton?
Amazing. I'm going to party tonight. So
where are you going?
I don't know, wherever I'm invited. I will have a good time wherever I am. I'm going to go and enjoy it with my friends.
We've played you plenty. Crystal Palace reaction. Here's Bernardo Silva live with Maz Faruqi.
Bernardo, thanks for your time. Talk us through that game, that final today.
Well, very disappointing for us. We played a tough team. We knew it. We knew it before the game. They're a team that defends with a very low block, very patient in the way that they defend and then prepare their counters with a lot of individual quality. And yeah, the first time they came to our goal, they scored. We knew how dangerous they were. And at the end, we missed that extra bit of quality in the final third to finish our actions, to score goals, because we had a few chances. We had a penalty. We had 3 or 4 good chances to score. But yeah, I think they deserved it today. Well done to Palace. Congratulations.
What about the incident involving Dean Henderson handling outside his area, the Palace goalkeeper in the first half? Some people think perhaps he should have been shown a red card for that. What do you think about that?
I haven't watched it, to be honest. I heard something about it, that he touched the ball with the hand. I would need to watch it to give you my opinion, so I don't want to without watching it.
What about the penalty then? Again, there was maybe perhaps a little bit of surprise that Erling Haaland didn't take it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I don't know. Normally Erling is our taker. Today they decided that Omar would take the penalty. I don't know because I wasn't inside the decision. But yeah, penalties missed, it can happen. Only the ones that go there can miss, and that was not the main issue. Of course, it was an important moment of the game because you need to score in those moments to win finals, but it wasn't just that.
In the second half, lots of possession, but just not able to kind of make that clear-cut opportunity to get back in the game as well.
Yeah, correct. It's as I said, they defended really well. They're a very organised team. We still had a few chances, but we couldn't make the final decision. It wasn't the correct one. The last cross, the last shot. So yeah, I think overall the way they defended today, they were really good.
Just finally for me, a word on Kevin De Bruyne. What a servant he's been to this club, all the trophies he's helped you guys win, and his last sort of major appearance, his last major final for Manchester City.
Well, yeah, sad that we couldn't win it for him. We wanted to give him this. He deserved it, and so it's a bit sad in a way. Yeah, I cannot imagine our success without him. He's a good friend of mine. I'm really sad to see him going. I hoped and wished that he would stay a bit longer. But yeah, it's life. I wish him all the best. I'm a bit sad, but I wish him all the best.
Bernardo Silva with Maz Faruqi. Thank you, Sean and Ian and Clinton. Just a final thing, John Murray, at the end of a FA Cup final.
Yeah.
At the end of a season where we've seen both cup finals go to 2 clubs who have waited very, very, very long times to get their hands on silverware.
Yes, and I suspect that Crystal Palace, the way that Newcastle celebrated that will have been in the minds of Crystal Palace's supporters and the hierarchy, and I suspect we will see scenes like that down in South London. I do think it's a shame. Again, I think we have to keep mentioning this. For me, it feels like this is a special competition. It does feel like this should be the end of the season, and Palace have got to play again. And it's not like that, and I know it's difficult with all of the expansion of European club football and finding the time and finding the slots, and but I know earlier weekends were used just for the FA Cup, and they decided they weren't going to play an FA Cup midweek. I just feel that this should be the climax of the domestic season. However, what a day for Crystal Palace and for Manchester City. It's further fuel for them to get better again. I think that's ominous for everyone next season again, but for Crystal Palace, what a day.